Bad little flex, she wanna know me. I stay low key, all gas, no brakes, baby, let them hoes sleep. Body on 10, make your girl OD. I get in my way, never out of my lane. Feel like you the one and I'm on one. So what it's gonna be? Baby, squad up, we finna go deep. Riding on a team, got what you need. Baby, won't you keep me company? Give me something to do when I get lonely. I got something for you when we get home. If you let me put it down, when I hit the town, you should ride on me. Keep your minds on me. On try, baby, I think you should side with me. Stay solid one time if you lie with me. Just promise you never lie to me. Keep the moves on tuck. I know it's all love. Everything good. Keep the vibes on crush. I know it's all good. Know it's all love. Know it's all love. I've been feeling like I'm feeling like the man lately. Can't nobody do it like I can daily. Baddest in the land. Body turn your nigga to a fanny up. I made it where I'm at on my own. Had a couple blocks in the road, but I get to the bag on the low. I be counting stacks while they grow, yeah, you know me. Baby, won't you keep me company? Give me something to do when I get lonely. I got something for you when we get home. If you let me put it down, when I come in town, you should ride on me. Keep your minds on me. On try, baby, I think you should side with me.
Hi there, Black Men Unfiltered. Listen, today we have a special offer. We have the Wig Snatcher 1000 on sale for $19.99. Get yours now. Are you tired of your wife getting up every day looking like Rick James? Are you tired of your wife getting up every day looking like James Brown? You don't have to do it any longer. You don't have to suffer anymore. We have the Wig Snatcher 1000. We have them on sale now, $19.99. Get yours today.
So hey. I could have got at least a cue. I was sending a message in the chat. Good evening. Good night. How y'all feeling? Hey. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Tuesday. Tonight is Talk That Talk Tuesday, where the ladies speak. And so tonight we'll be having another great conversation with a lot of the ladies here at Black Men Unfiltered Network. Let me see who's in the chat. Brother David is here and in the building. We have T-Shaw. T-Shaw, when you gonna join? When you gonna join the conversation? Come on up here. It's a good evening. Thank you, sister, for being here. Hey, Information Man. Hope all is well your way. Blessings. I saw you was eating at somebody on a little clip. Keep doing what you're doing. I feel that. Granville. What's up, Dusto? What's up? How y'all feeling tonight? So check it. Let me move my stuff over. So we had a conversation. I think it was the last Talk That Talk Tuesday. We talked about friendships. And so the conversation for tonight, if y'all hadn't saw the topic yet, check out the topic. Who are you? Know yourself intimately. Sherelle, what's up? Come on in the room. Come on in the room. But yeah, so we were having a conversation about friendships, and it kind of that and the last Friday's barbershop talk. And so it's been a couple conversations that's been happening in the barbershop where Dr. and I think his name Nakumbe. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. If I'm not, somebody correct me. And definitely please join in later on when we drop the link. But he was having a conversation with some of the gentlemen, and I'm like, you know what? We talked about friendships and people not to have in your life, but it's hard for us to make those decisions when we truly don't know who we are as individuals. And so I had to kind of circle back to who are you? Who are you? Most oftentimes we truly don't go on that journey to know ourselves intimately enough, right? We take peeks in the mirror And we say, hey, am I okay with this person? Yeah, but it's starting to look a little messy. So let me move from in front of the mirror. But that's where we truly need to start. We need to start defining who we are, and that will help us choose who we have in our lives. And so that also help us um, kind of determine what we're feeding into our children. And so it's very important for us to kind of define who we are as individuals. And so we'll have a great conversation tonight. We'll have some ladies join. Some will be joining as the show go on and all of that good stuff. Oh, Beautifully Animated is in the building.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh man, it's a Talk That Talk Tuesday, and I've been talking all day, literally. I have not had a break. Went straight from work, jumped on into this, had a quick conversation with a sister who may or may not join in just a bit, but had that conversation and then kind of rolled into, girl, you need to hurry up and get ready. You need to get ready. Get it ready. Hey Trey, welcome in the building. Trey, welcome to the chat. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. You are watching another Talk That Talk Tuesday where the ladies are speaking. We're going to be speaking tonight and having a wonderful conversation about who you are. I'm asking you, who are you? How do you get to know yourself intimately? And we'll talk about a couple points. And so, Beautiful Animated, I don't know if you caught the beginning, but I was talking about where this conversation kind of came from. I was watching, we had the conversation about friendships, right? The last Talk That Talk Tuesday. Yeah. And for those of y'all that are just tuning in, y'all are watching Black Men Unfiltered Network, where it is Talk That Talk Tuesday, every first Tuesday of the month. The ladies speak. And so let the ladies speak. Please, y'all don't judge. Just say, let the ladies speak. People can't let women speak. Yeah. This is Black Men Unfiltered Network, Black Men Unfiltered, where Black men and women are having these wonderful conversations. And so this is an opportunity for us to kind of chime in and give our thoughts. And we hope that these are solution-based conversations that we're having so we can get to the real, we need to get to the root. We need to get to the root of some problems and start holding ourselves accountable. And so that's what we're here for, having those conversations. And so we have a lot of beautiful women who join the conversations, and we have them in raw. They're true and they're genuine. And we as women can have conversations without smacking our hands and rolling our necks over here and eating each other alive. So I appreciate that. So yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? So we ain't going to do that over here. But this is where this conversation came from. Who are you? And so, and it's pretty much self-intimacy. And, self-intimacy is pretty much being aware of your feelings, owning those feelings, caring about those feelings, and then being able to successfully communicate those feelings to the people that you love, whether it's your family members, your mate, your children, whoever the case may be, that's near and dear to you. How do we successfully communicate that when we truly don't know who we are? And so I'm going to do my best to watch the chat.
So everybody saying hello to me. Hello.
Ms. AKA Lady, welcome to the room. Glad to have you here tonight. Glad to have everybody in the chat. Of course, as always, feel free to keep the chat on fire. If you want to drop a super chat, please do so. Support the network. You can also do that by sending a cash app to Black Men Unfiltered. And then, of course, like and subscribe. It's totally free. Hit the like button. Subscribe, okay? Get the notifications for Talk That Talk Tuesday.
Y'all know you'll love it over here.
You'll love it over here. So, yeah. Hey, Miss Mo. All right. Oh, if we can get Miss Mo the link. Somebody drop Miss Mo the link. Welcome, welcome, welcome in the room. But we're having this conversation because we talked about friendships. We talked about how can we kind of navigate those relationships, people to kind of stay away from. But it's hard for us to have that conversation when we truly don't know who we are, right? And so
I was just about to say, it's not. So many
we have to backtrack.
Do it.
Yeah, we had to reel that thing back in because we had that full conversation. Great conversation. If y'all hadn't saw that video, please go back and watch it. Also watch the barbershop talk for the last couple of weeks. They've been some really good and interesting conversations. And so kudos to the guys that are on those panels that is having the barbershop talk conversations. That's happening here on Black Men Unfiltered Network. Also, that happens every Friday. This past Friday, they had a co-ed show where it was the men and the ladies, and it was kind of like barbershop meets the salon. And so beautiful conversation, passionate conversation they were having. And basically it revolved around mental health. So it was a great conversation, and I really enjoyed watching it. I wasn't able to attend it live, but I did go back and rewatch it. So it was some great points that came from it, which made me think about this conversation today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somebody was saying in that conversation, they shared a video. We pretty much attract who we are.
No.
Don't look like that. Don't look like that. Don't look like that.
If I attracted who I am and stuff like that, I'd be married already.
So you will marry your crazy self. See that?
Why?
Go on. It's too early to show. This me.
Oh, goodness.
I ain't gonna lie, I can't marry my crazy self. I am a Looney Tune. Okay. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a Looney Tune. But yeah, so
I mean, yeah, but I would know how to handle myself.
You would know how to handle yourself, but you wouldn't be able to stay in the room with yourself long enough to do so. Okay, let me just put that out there. We got to hold each other accountable. I love you. You hear me? I ain't going to tell you no word of a lie. You hear me? No word of a lie.
Oh, yeah, I know you got me.
But yeah, so it's hard. It's hard for us to take a look in the mirror and kind of identify who we are. And so we'll jump into the conversation. Keep coming in the room. We appreciate you all joining. Thank you for dropping that link. Oh, look at Miss Mo. Hey, Miss Mo.
With the salt and pepper hair. Yeah.
Baby, you see that swoop?
Right?
You see that swoop? You better rock that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's in place too. Where everybody's just beautiful. I love some salt and pepper hair. My stuff gonna look like Tony Chachere's. I got this dusty brown and reddish kind of. Yeah, it's funky up there, but yeah.
Hi, beautifully animated. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay. Just
it's one of them days.
I'm glad to be on the panel because I almost didn't make it.
It's just one of them days.
I guess.
That a girl herself can't inside.
I guess.
Miss Mo can't be angry. Don't want to take it out on you.
You said I can't be angry?
You can't be angry. You got too much positive energy for that.
Yeah,
I'll be seeing your reels.
You don't want to see that.
Ooh. So how y'all feeling? Before we dive in, and I'll catch you up in just a second, Mo, but before we dive in, how you feeling tonight, beautiful and animated? How you feeling?
I'm so happy. I'm a great aunt now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yep. So I'm
boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Give us details. How many pounds, how many ounces, all that sweet stuff.
I haven't even got that information yet. Because she
just
popped out this morning.
That's fresh off the press. Nice.
This morning.
Nice.
This morning.
Look, DM me pictures when you get some. Okay. I like to look at new babies. How about you, Mo? How we feeling? How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling. I'm blessed.
I'm just grateful you're feeling.
I'm blessed. Yeah, I'm blessed. Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can y'all imagine waking up and not feeling?
I can't.
Y'all know somebody ever woke up dead?
Yep. A lot of people.
Yeah, you hear me? I don't know if we can say that word on YouTube. Dead. I don't know if we can say that on YouTube tonight. We're going to get into the conversation. All right, we done playing around. And I'm feeling fine. Ain't nobody asked me no, but I'm going to tell you. I'm
feeling
fine.
So
how you
sorry.
doing, though?
No worries. Look, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling. You ain't got to ask me. Y'all going to know it. I'm running. Right. I'm running like a chicken with my head cut off. But like you, Miss Mo, I am blessed. I am forever grateful. I could have woke up on the other side of things, but I'm still here. Our pain shows us that we are still human and we are alive. Sherelle, welcome to the room. I am so glad to see that you are still with us and you are still on this side of the earth. Tell us how you feeling before we jump into this conversation.
Yeah. I'm feeling good today, feeling blessed, so happy to be here.
Good. Glad to hear that and glad to have you on the show. And so just to catch everybody up, we were having this conversation about friendship, right? And Sherelle, you were here for that conversation. Beautifully Animated, you were here. Mo, if you hadn't saw the video, hopefully you can catch up on it. It was a great conversation we were having about people to keep in and out of your life, and how to navigate those waters and making better decisions for yourself. Because as we control our atmosphere and the network around us, that kind of, help us propel to the next level if that's what we choose to do, And so it was part of the conversation that happened on Barbershop Talk last Friday. It was pretty much you are who you attract, and so it was a clip that was shown, oh, this type of person attracts this type of person. And that kind of played into the friendship conversation we was having, which kind of also now plays into this, because how can we identify those things when we truly don't know who we are? We out here like a limb on a tree, just blowing in the wind, and we truly hadn't identified ourselves. We don't know each other intimately. Another part of that conversation, they was talking about sexually, but I ain't gonna get on that. But they were saying a lot of people, they exist in relationships because they're not being pleasured because they truly don't know themselves. It's hard for you to make it to a point where you can truly be happy with your mate, whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, because you truly don't know what you really want.
Right.
You don't know yourself enough, right? And so I said, let's bring this conversation back. Let's talk about it. Who are you? Let's talk about getting to know yourself intimately. So that's why we're here. As we make these, as we, I guess, self-reflect, and as we go up on that journey to kind of do some, get to some personal intimacy, some self-intimacy, we can make better choices in life. We can choose friends more wisely. We can pour into our children differently. We can pour into our relationships at a deeper and more intimate level. And so that's what we're here. We're here to kind of get some solutions going so we can kind of, I don't want us to keep having a circular conversation is, oh, this is wrong with the community. Oh, this is wrong with everything and everybody around me. And it's everybody's fault but mine. You need to start with the man in the mirror.
Yep.
Change. Those words were so powerful when Michael Jackson made that song. There's no message that can be any clearer than if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. You hear me? We start doing our 99 and we start changing, and guess what? People don't like who we are.
Oh,
facts. Because they're not used to that you. They want the you that they wanted, right? They wanted the you that was good for them. And so I want us to start taking that trip, right? And start identifying who we are. So self-intimacy, I want to define it real quick. It's about being aware of your own feelings, caring about those feelings, and sharing them with your partner. And so, like I said, in order for us to kind of fix the problems that we're having in our community, and I'm talking about our personal community, we have to start with ourselves, right? We have to kind of fix it. And so that self-intimacy, as we get to know ourselves a little deeper, we can start kind of clearing up some of that past, our triggers that we're holding on to, that deep-seated fear that we have on so many levels, because a lot of times we don't know we're triggered until we're triggered, And so a lot of times we don't address some of the things that we've gone through, because on surface level, we just say, oh, this happened to me when I was a kid. That was when I was a kid. Now I'm grown. I'm all right. Because I ain't dealing with these people no more. I ain't dealing with this person no more. This person ain't in my life no more. So I'm able to keep moving on. But then a new person comes into your life and then they do something. And what happened? We pop off, right? Why? We hadn't addressed some things that are lingering back there. Welcome to the room, Quincy. How you doing this evening? Hey. So yeah, as y'all come into the room, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Shout out to the people in the chat. We appreciate y'all being here, but we have to do those things. We have to take care of those. And Dr. Nakube said something. He was asking the guys a couple questions, and I've heard him do it twice. He did Mr. Bennett one time. He did Black Men Unfiltered one time, and he was asking him the question, tell me about a time when you were disappointed or you felt some type of way. I can't remember how the question was worded within the last 6 months. Yeah. And then he asked him, tell me about a time when this happened to you when you were like between the ages of this and 8. And so as they answered those questions, the answers to the question correlated with what was happening then and what's happening now. And
Mhm.
so basically, it's 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, you
Mhm.
thought you left part of yourself in the past because that was something that happened to you in the blip in time and that was it. It's done and over. Yet and still, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, we're still seeing that
Mhm.
in our present. Why?
Mhm.
Because some stuff we truly hadn't healed from. And
Right.
so, yeah. So I really enjoyed that, and that made me think about this conversation. Who are you? Getting to know yourself intimately. Alexis from Texas, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, Alexis.
Hey,
How you
y'all.
How you doing today?
I'm good. Look, just had to wrestle and put elbows on my son to get him down, but I'm here.
Look,
Not the elbows.
man,
Yes, man. Look, something about those elbows. That belt just is different from that elbow.
Mm.
mm-mm.
Oh yeah, that's different.
Oh yeah, good and different. So yeah, welcome to the room, Alexis.
Glad to be here.
I don't know if you caught the beginning, but we were having this conversation pretty much kind of coming from the friendship conversation that we had the last February's Tuesday. I can't remember what date that was on, but that was a few Tuesdays ago. All right, and so to bring it back full circle, we were trying to, I was thinking like, how can we tell somebody how to manage friendships when they don't know who they are to determine who their friends are? And so basically, that's where we're at. And so
That's good.
doing a whole self intimacy kind of journey. And so there's a few points I'll share. We'll have the conversation. I'll ask, of course, the room how they feel. And I ask y'all to, do what we always do, be raw, be intimate. And then, of course, we'll drop the link to everybody join, you know?
Yeah.
So we're going to keep it pushing. And so one part, I'll just say this, what do self-intimacy mean to y'all? Let me ask that. I gave a quick definition about how, we get to be aware of our feelings and care about those feelings and being able to share them. But what do y'all think? What is self-intimacy to you?
I never have thought of self intimacy. I've always self evaluated.
Mm.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I recall memories from my past and relate it to things or whatever. Because I think I told you, like in my early 20s, whatever, some craziness happened and my emotional measure was broken. So everything hit me as a rage. That was every negative feeling would hit me as rage. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. And so I had to start thinking, what did I feel like beforehand? Oh,
Mm.
I'm annoyed. I'm actually annoyed. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So I had to like tell myself what is going on to get
Yeah.
myself to come out of that rage feeling because it was so hard on my body.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Mm.
sharing that. And we'll talk about that later too. Just kind of being inquisitive, like thinking about
Yeah.
how you feel in those moments, right? And getting
Right.
to know yourself. Um,
Mm.
Miss Mo, self intimacy.
Yeah, I have to agree with Miss Beautifully there. I've never thought about it in that way, the way that, as far as those words,
Mhm.
intimacy. So, being self-aware, like Miss Beautifully said, self-evaluating, looking inside yourself. Hey, looking inside yourself, being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, self-evaluation, being very in touch with your emotions, being in touch with, as you stated earlier, dealing with whatever happened back when.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
has has it been resolved within you? Have
Yeah.
you resolved it within yourself enough
Yeah.
to move on, to move forward, knowing, okay, yes, I can say honestly that I have dealt with this, as far as my emotions, I have dealt with this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have
Mhm.
talked about it. I have uh, held myself accountable if I needed
Mm.
to. I have reflected, I have dissected, I have
Yeah.
really thought about, okay, what part did I play? What did I do?
Mhm.
Was my role, was it a good role? Was it a bad role? What could I have done different? Should I have
Yeah.
done anything
Yeah.
differently? You know what I mean? Yeah,
That makes
you
sense.
really need to be in touch with your feelings and not being afraid to be honest with yourself. Because when you're honest with yourself and you just keep that thought process, being honest with
Yeah.
yourself, to thine own self be true,
Be true.
you can just take that
That's that
and
intimacy.
hold that and then just go from that, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
yes, of course it's easy for me to say these words, but then when you're in it, in the trenches of going through whatever you're going through and dealing with whatever you're trying to deal with,
Yeah.
yeah, it ain't going to be easy. Sometimes it's going to be easier than other times, but it
Yeah.
needs to be done. It really needs to be done.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That brings us to How Value Wise Super Chat. Thank you for your super chat. She sent a $10 super chat saying we need to focus more on fixing our issues versus how we feel. And you hit it. We were talking about that earlier. How can we get to a place where we're providing solutions and we're
Mhm.
taking that reflection to say, hey, look, I see these things make me feel this way. What can I do, right? So I won't find myself in this situation or feeling this way to the point where I'm hurting people or I'm
Mhm.
hurting myself
Mhm.
with the decisions that I'm making, right? And so
Well,
as we get to know ourselves a little deeper, more on an intimate level, everybody think about intimacy and they think about sexual, romantic relationships, and that's intimacy. But
yeah.
intimacy is just having that deep understanding, that deep connection, that they kind of where I don't even know the word, just mash it up, just yeah. So we need to do that with ourselves. Alexis, well, first off, let me welcome Auntie
Um.
Randolph. Let me welcome her to the room. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure to be in the building with you, hon. Um, so
But Queen
yeah,
Smiley,
uh huh,
wouldn't you say that considering your feelings and stuff is part of
of course.
fixing your issues?
Yeah, but that's what it
Yeah.
is. Say
Right.
what your feelings are, and then how can I get to a place where I'm working on those issues? It's the same thing as Miss Mo said. Hey, I've identified it. You said it. I've identified these feelings. These make me feel this way. Now, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And so that's fixing the issue. Same thing. I just missed the super chat just that quick. Who said that? How value
Uh.
wives?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing she's saying. Hey, let's focus on it. Yeah, let's not focus on how we're feeling because we're going to feel all the time. We're human. We're
Right.
always going to
Right.
be feeling, but what are we doing to fix the issue, fix the problem? It goes back to the conversation that Dr. Nakumbe said. Hey, tell me about a time when you felt this way. Then tell me about a time in this period when you felt this way. Now you see how these
Oh.
two are
Okay.
making you feel. Now, what are we doing? Right?
Would
And
you
so,
would you saying that it makes me understand her comment more? So
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
And so it's where can we go from here? So welcome to the room, Auntie. We were just going around the panel, and I'll bring Alexis and Cheryl. I'll bring y'all back in just a sec so y'all can give y'all thoughts. But Auntie, since you're just coming in, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to you. What is self intimacy to you?
Isha.
Well, self intimacy to me is knowing what makes me me. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And I like to call them opportunities for improvement.
Mhm.
What, inspires me. But in order to be able to qualify or quantify those things, I have to spend enough time with myself to even know that. And and
Come on now. We're
Mhm.
gonna talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. We're gonna talk
Mhm.
about it.
and a lot of times I speak now from, the 55 and a half year old perspective, but I think when I was younger, I couldn't identify those things because I didn't want to spend a lot of time with myself. I didn't want to,
Mhm.
I didn't like my own company. And when I say that,
Mm,
because it allows you to not to focus on yourself when you are already always out, because I was doing sorority stuff, I was doing college stuff, doing work stuff, doing military stuff. So, and then I had became a mom. So,
Yeah.
when you're always doing stuff, you don't sit long enough to understand what makes you tick.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you don't know what makes you tick, if your clock is broken, how can you fix it?
That's right.
Right. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Good
Alexis from
TJ.
Texas. Alexis from Texas. Talk to us.
So, um, I looked up the definition of intimacy, and the first bullet point says a close familiarity or friendship. Then it says, almost i.e. closeness. Then the next one says a private, cozy atmosphere. And then the next one after that is like talk about being doing grown-up thing. But
The grown up thing.
I
I
can't
like
stand
that.
the fact that Webster keep
Bounce,
changing.
wow, wow.
Yeah.
Why? 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 Why?
They keep changing the definition for stuff, just like they changing the definition of what a woman
I
is.
mean,
Come on.
Oh Lord.
Look,
That's another
Oh
we're
conversation.
Lord.
gonna
That's a
take and
whole
pin that
nother
over
thing.
in the corner.
Yeah.
But when it says like, first of all, in order for me to have a closeness, even with myself, I have to be in a good atmosphere. It's in a cozy atmosphere. So when we talk about self-care, usually we're in a cozy atmosphere to where we're able to have that intimacy among ourselves, just doing something to help us get through the day or give you that boost if it's encouraging or anything like that. So looking at the definitions, and then they break down intimacy into 4 types of intimacy. And so a lot of times, people get caught off guard thinking that it is only something sexual, but they're breaking it down because off the bat, if we would have asked another group of people, they might have been went into sex at that moment of when you talk intimacy. But every one of y'all so far have mentioned things as far as making making you better, filling up your gas tank to, it was all on the note of self itself. That
Yeah.
makes sense. But so I mean, the fact that it's broken down like that is, it's like, man, intimacy is just not how we think about it, to where now we can put it in the level of like, yeah, I have self intimacy. What do? I sit down. If I'm reading the book, I'm looking forward to reading this book by one of my favorite Christian rappers that just came out today, and that'll be some intimacy of myself and reflecting and looking at the word as well, so I mean, I just thought, and I wanted to throw that nugget out there, the fact
Yeah.
that it's down into, and I'm going to say it real quick, but just to keep it out there, is 4 types of intimacy: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tisha.
Yeah, and what Tisha said. When I'm
Yep.
intimate with myself, I spend time with God. He reminds me of who I am and who I am not. That keeps me grounded. And
Yeah.
so far, everybody has shared. Basically, we've had the conversation. The points that I'm going to share, we're going to talk about, and we've already addressed we've already hit just about every point.
Yeah.
Sherelle, intimacy to you, self intimacy. Talk to me.
Like pretty much everything y'all said. If I look at life as something that we sew in, like a quilt or something. Self intimacy is not paying attention to the fabrics, but the threading, right? So
Nice.
just like even going down
Yeah.
to when we're younger, and you really see what really makes me me, like the inner threading of who am I and why am I this way. Why, you see, like as I'm sewing, I remember it got hot this day, so it might be a little wrinkle. I remember when I ran out of thread, so they started changing colors. And that's just the changes of life when you grew and you evolved and things changed. And you see that, right? And you just learn the beauty of you, because you can't change the past, but you know that all of this is sewn together to make this beautiful quilt. But just understanding the inner workings of yourself to know I am this way, and self-awareness and evaluating yourself, and it just helps you grow more and understand I move through life this way the best because I'm here. And of course, like just being aligned with God, because I think especially as women, we just give to the world and our parents, our family, our friends. We give. And self intimacy is the time where we just get it back, where we go to our creator and it's just like we get to feel ourselves all the way back up. And it's like, okay, this is me. I'm sane. I'm playing. Like you always got to get back to yourself. So that's what it is to me.
Yeah. Hey, Eugene. Welcome to the room. For those of y'all just joining the chat, welcome to the conversation. I think I saw Mr. Bennett in the room. I've seen Lady DeVore join. Welcome. Anybody that I'm missing, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the conversation. When I tell you, we already into it. And so we're talking about who you are. Who are you? Right? Know yourself intimately. And so thank you, ladies, for sharing y'all perspective of what that looks like to you. If you're in the chat, drop it in the chat. Talk to us. Tell us what you think it is. Totally fine. Also, hit the like and subscribe button. You are tuning in to Talk That Talk Tuesdays. Let the ladies speak. And we are speaking tonight. Man, y'all already dropping some jewels. Sherelle, I love the whole quilt thing because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, that was a beautiful metaphor on what we're having a conversation about tonight. How do we get to that point where we addressing how we feel, we're addressing things that have happened, and how are we paving the way forward to know what that wrinkle, that change in the color of the threading, what that looks like to us, and how can we better ourselves by reflecting that deeply to the point where we're intimate with ourselves and we truly know who we are, how we're made,
Right.
I love the fact that I'm speaking to some God-fearing women. I don't ever mind getting in the room with a heathen or two here and there. Shout out to DL Saint. I love it. But yeah, and so he calls himself the neighborhood heathen, and so I really appreciate his perspective. Sweet as pie. He know the word, and he be standing on it too. But he also brings some interesting perspective. So I appreciate those conversations. But the fact that we are taking the time, and like I said, we pretty much hit almost every point. One of the first points that I had was honor yourself. And it's to Sherelle's point, being able to say no. Okay?
Yes.
Having the ability to say, you know what? We put everybody before us. We're always running. We're always doing. What up, Jedi Mike? Welcome. We're always taking care of everybody else's needs. And so when do we stop and make that, conscious decision? Say, you know what? My answer is no. I can't attend this function. I can't be in this relationship. I can't contribute to this. Okay? I can't do these things. I can't be who you need me to be because I'm trying to figure out who I truly am. So my answer is no. I won't take on any more that I can chew. Come on, jump on in, or what?
What they want goes against the person that you are,
or who you trying to be,
right?
Or identify as. All right, so we had a poll going in the chat. I don't know if y'all saw it. I hope y'all answered it, but we have a poll. 62% of women say that they love themselves intimately, but 38% say they don't. Yeah. And so the question is for the 38%, what advice do we have? Keep tuning into this conversation so we can get to it. Okay, we have to get to the root.
I have a question.
Why don't they? That's what I was wondering.
That was going to be my question.
Why don't they?
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of people do not self-evaluate, though.
And we'll talk about.
I rarely find other people who self-evaluate, and when I do finally find somebody who self-evaluates, we become cool. Hey, y'all! Like this is my group right here.
Yeah, and so and it's crazy. I can't answer that question for them. Why they don't. But the only thing I can do, or we can do, on this panel is to provide these nuggets, to speak to who we are, to our true selves, and try to help guide them on that journey. Some people just hadn't had the opportunity. I think it was who was that saying it earlier? I think it was Auntie TJ was saying earlier how she was busying herself with so many things in life. She didn't want to spend time with herself to get to know herself. You know, it wasn't a cute picture. And we talked about that when the show first began. Had sometimes you take a glimpse in the mirror, and the mirror is kind of it's a double-edged sword. You look in the mirror one way and you start looking at all your flaws and a wrinkle here, you know, a blemish there. But then you really start looking into that mirror and you start seeing who you truly are, and you hurry up and get away from the mirror. I ain't got time because, girl, I'm messy. I'm messy right now. My life is broken right now. I ain't loved the way I want to be loved right now. I ain't got the man I want right now. My kids crazy, work crazy, life crazy. All these things are so messy around us, and we're not taking the time and the opportunity to say, let me pause and look in this mirror and let me truly do a self-reflection. Am I taking on things that I truly need to take on? Am I saying no where I need to say no? Am I compartmentalizing some stuff? Let me section some stuff off so I can get to the root me, so I can get down to me, and I can see myself always. You know,
And I think part of that is fear.
Of course.
Fear of being alone and spending time with yourself. Fear of, you know, finding out whatever you're going to find out about yourself if you truly look within yourself deep enough. If you spend, like Miss TJ said, if you spend enough time with yourself to start, you know, evaluating yourself. Some people, no, they don't want to, for the fear of it. Some people might not, you know, like what they find. They already know what's there. They know. They know.
And we have to be true and honest with ourselves. We have to honor ourselves. So that's my first point, honoring ourselves. We have to honor ourselves enough to create that space so we can make that time. And so part of that is going to be being able to say no, right? We have to start saying no to some things so we can clear out some time, some space, and some energy so we can take care of us. And so I know saying no is a hard practice. And so it's not necessarily a no-brainer. It's like, I could say no to anything, but we find ourselves being overexhausted and overcommitted to a whole lot of stuff and people, right? And so it's easier said than done. So getting down to the nitty-gritty, how do you find your way back when you've made it to a point where you've pretty much exhausted yourself? Now you're starting to resent the relationships you've joined, and I ain't just talking about with partners. I'm talking about with friendships, family members, you name it, working all this. You've overcommitted yourself, and now you need to get back to clearing your plate to say, hey, I need to start cutting some stuff off. How do y'all get back from that? How do y'all find y'all way back? You know, I'm overextended. Look, all of us looking like, shoot, we still there.
Prioritizing.
No, I've had to say no and stuff like that, and
Miss Mo, you were saying prioritizing. Was that you, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, it was me, but I was letting Miss Beautifully speak.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that, you know, I've had to do it with friends. That was easy. You know, that was easier to deal with as far as saying no, but I still had to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
But the hardest thing is family. You know, because, you know, blood is thicker than water.
Please. Please.
So I've had to
get me started on that.
I can easily get to that point when it comes to my child, though. Like, if my family is putting her in danger because they're doing something stupid, it's like, I'm not going to deal with you. Peace.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to get to know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Miss Mo.
Huh?
Go ahead, Miss Mo. I think we have somebody else in the chat. I was reading the chat.
No, I was just answering your question. How do you, you know, start getting back to, you know, like square one, like trying to clear some stuff off of your plate, you know, saying no. I mean, you have to prioritize everything that's on your plate. You know, you have to look at everything on your plate and start pushing stuff off, because your life your well-being, your mental, your physical, your emotional, your family, your God, I mean, everything. You have to prioritize the most important things.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
when stuff starts to affect those specific things, and I
Yeah.
would listen. I will tell you firsthand. I will tell you firsthand. Mm-mm.
All right.
You better do. You better get
That
a
dog ain't
hold
gonna
of it
front, huh?
and get a hold of it quick,
Yeah.
because that ain't nothing to play with. You need to think about yourself, your family, your well-being.
And
Because
some people
We're
consider that
not
being
taught that.
selfish. We're
Right.
not taught that truth,
Right. We're not taught that. And
That's
it's
why we're
like
having the conversation.
we're
that's right.
taught, hit it head on, push on through it. And it's like,
Right. Right.
really, you're setting yourself up for failure if you're gonna push through it.
Yep.
Because as you're pushing, everything's building up. It's getting harder and harder and harder to push until you just
Yeah.
when you had that first breakdown, it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes.
Terrell, how we get back?
Hi, neighbor.
Yeah. Okay, so I think isolation and just like fasting, right? So sometimes you do get overwhelmed by everything, and then sometimes you just need to be like, okay, I put my phone on D&D. You put the special people in there because sometimes emergencies, you put them on a list. Leave all your social media. All your music is non-secular, right? So you like gospel music. You read your word. You go out. You find a YouTube pastor, because I be on a roll. So my pastor is a YouTube pastor, Pastor Darius Daniels, and you listen to the word and you meditate, you fast, you just drink water, cut all the sugar out, try to like eat real clean, and just realign yourself. Like cut everything else out. Don't like let your people know in advance. Don't call me with no drama, no negativity, nothing. I need this time for myself so that I could replenish me. So I do that. 7 is the number for God. So fasting at least 7 days at the beginning of the month. Just cutting everything out and just saying like whatever I went wrong last month, let me realign so that I could go into this month strong. And even if you miss your first 7 days, you catch up. So it's never too late. You miss the day one, you just start on day two. So that's what it is. Just making sure you cut everything out, because all of that's going to be there anyway later.
Yeah.
But you have to be good with yourself, because like with us, we just can't get rid of us. And I know sometimes you want to send yourself to work and then send your other self on vacation, right? And then send your other self to the gym so we can stay right. But too bad, like we gotta literally go every single place, even when we no longer on Earth. Wherever we go after life, we go on with each other. It's me. We stuck in. We locked in for life. So you just gotta make sure you okay. You good.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So that's the way forward. Definitely. Taking that opportunity to pray and fast. TJ, how do you make your way back?
Well, regrettably, a lot of times before you make your way back, you stumble a whole bunch of times. And I am no different. I think, and I think that's one of the reasons that we have the conversations in the hopes that, we can prevent people from stumbling a whole bunch.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we don't know ourselves intimately and we are doing all these other things, whether we're in the presence of other people, it's because we think that a lot of times we think that they are better than we are. So, or that we're not worthy for certain things. And that's why we accept certain things. So for me, what I had to do was to start by, kind of doing, definitely crying out to God, literally crying, literally crying out to God.
Indeed.
And asking, why do I keep, finding myself in these places, and not necessarily as it related to a man, but just in some point in my life, taking on more than I could handle, and then getting burnt out. And so, it was
Mm-hmm.
during those times, God said, just be still. And I think that was one of the hardest things for me, to be honest. Again, because when you're not really comfortable in your own company, you do things to distract yourself. So I think that was definitely one of the things, crying out to God and not being afraid to not only talking to God, but being mindful when he talks to you and be prepared for what he shows you. And a lot of times what he shows you are things that are things that you need to cut out and cut off that you may not be ready for. Maybe it was somebody, a family member, like you said, maybe it was a friend that was a lifelong friend. And you're like, well, surely it couldn't be that. But it could be those things. And are you prepared for that? It could be, cutting off your child, it could be all of those things that are tough. But I think Sherelle said, I have to, or we have to realize that, we can't help nobody if we're not well. So again, it's funny that you say that we're having this conversation, because the other day I was on a show with Lucky and Courtney, and I said, I think for the past 3 or 4 years, I've looked back and I say, this is probably the first time in my life, or if not in my life, a long time, that I've truly been content. And that is a place when you are are intimately connected with yourself. There's a contentment there.
Yeah.
Because you're not striving for the next thing. You're not striving you are right there.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. So that's
Nice.
if I answered the question.
Yeah, you answered it. You answered it. Beautiful. We do have to get to a point where, like you say, where it takes a moment where we cry to God, but then we also we take that time to say, hey, this is this, and this ain't what it is, and let me just scale it back, and that's pretty much what everybody's saying. Let me just scale it back. Let me just take a moment to get back to the me. And I like the fact that you, of course, in hindsight, looking back at, hey, all of these things, and we've stumbled, okay? And I'm saying we because I'm included in that number. It takes us to stumble for us to get to that point to where we're like, you know what? I'm here. Now, what am I doing? Why am I striving to be like somebody? Why am I striving or taking on these things to be in this circle or in this network of people? And that's we have to identify who we are and why are we in these circles? Why are we doing some of the things that we're doing? Is it truly because we want to be like somebody else and we want to fit into a certain place? We'll talk about that later on too. But great point. Great points, TJ, for sure. Alexis from Texas, when you find yourself out there, you're trying to get back to the middle. That's what I call it, getting back to the middle, because you've overextended. How do you get back to that point of self-reflecting?
Me personally, I pray, fast if I need to. Sheree hit a lot of it on the head with that. But really, my main source when I know I need to get back to be stronger or have something within me that's strong within my weakness. I'm aligned with the word. I'm trying to get closer to God. I'm giving them thanks and glory even in times when it's so hard and I don't even know what's going to happen. But you know what? I'm going to give you glory, Lord, right now, because I know whatever happens, you're going to make sure that it's for the good. Like you work for the good, even things I don't understand, like you work for the good. So my main thing is just that's my source. When I need to get back, praying, fasting, praising, that's it.
Yeah. So honoring yourself, getting back to who you truly are, taking the time to cut some things off, being able to say no. So for those that are in the chat to answer the poll saying, hey, I'm really not intimate with myself. And how do you get there? Take a moment to take a step back. Take a moment to create some space and trust in your inner authority. And so that's that quiet listening that all the ladies just shared pretty much. That quiet space you're creating, that quiet atmosphere you're blocking off so you can have some time for you to get to know who you are. So choosing to spend some time alone to allow yourself to kind of acknowledge your personhood, who you are as an individual. Okay. Getting to a point where you've cut off some people, some things, you know, social media is one of them. I know a lot of times we see a lot of people at the beginning of the year, I'm getting off social media, and it lasts for 2 days, and then they got to see what's happening, what's the tea, right? And so the New Year's resolution, and I'm cutting all these things off. I love the fact that Sherelle mentioned, hey, look, I do this at 7. 7 is a holy number. Every month, the first 7 days, I'm gonna do all these things, and I'm gonna tune into me. I'm gonna tune into my higher power, whether it's God or whoever it may be for you, because I know everybody is not God fearing and God seeking. And so, for those of you who are praying to something different, then by all means have your way. But take that time to say, hey, look, I need to cut out some time. I need to create a space for me. And that goes hand in hand with honoring yourself. And so it's this is the note I put, trust that you trust that you know what's best for you. Choosing to spend that time doing what you enjoy doing. Start taking small steps to find things that interest you, whether it's finding a hobby that brings you like to a quiet peace, or whatever the case may be, so you can tune into you and kind of listen to those feelings, those emotions, and those moments. And so that's pretty much what fasting is, but you're listening to, you know, if it's fasting and you of faith, that's listening to God. Cut out that time to say, hey, look, I want to do something quiet, whether it's meditation, whether it's reading, whether it's tuning in just to listen to soft music. I got the Calming app on my phone. And then in the Bible app, I have a little moment in my little daily prayer where at the end of it, you know, I can do a reflection period. And it say take 4 to 6 minutes. Sometimes it be longer than that, because I just let the music go. And I'm just like, you know what, Lord, before I even get up and start my day, I'm just going to exist right here with you before I do anything else. And so whether you're doing that daily, weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be, create that space so you can get to know you just a little bit deeper and trust that inner authority within yourself. When you say, hey, look, I want to cut some stuff out. I want to get to tune into me, but kind of get to a point where you're revealing your true heart desires. Sometimes we have to be still. Like TJ said, sometimes we have to just be still. I told my daughter that earlier today because she called me. She was having a moment. And I'm like, Jalex, be still. Okay? I can't be still. I need to do it. I say, that's not what I'm talking about. Not talking about that still. I'm talking about be still in your spirit. Okay? Take you a moment to pray. Take you a moment to seek God. Take you a moment to say, hey, what's my next move? So you can pray for strength. You can pray for guidance. You can pray for peace.
Yep.
Okay? So you can have the strength to endure whatever you're going through, the peace to know that his will going to be done regardless, and the guidance so when you come out of it, you know your way forward, and he'll guide you accordingly. And so love all of that. So when it comes to finding that quiet time in that space, I know a lot of you ladies share fasting and things like that, but for people that don't fast, people that are not of faith, how do y'all find y'all little peaceful place, like y'all little happy moment, like to yourself where it's just you, whether it's like pulling weeds is a thing for me. And it's tis the season. I know, right? Call me crazy. Pulling weeds, it's nobody out there. Don't nobody else want to be outside but me. So ain't nobody gonna come out there and bother me. I'm gonna be out there by myself, pulling my weeds, minding my business, with the sun on my back. You know, sometimes, yeah, that's my little therapeutic little piece. You know, I get out there and I just pull. Ain't nobody in my ear. Most oftentimes, I don't even play music. I listen to the wind blowing against my face, and I'm like, that's a little whistle from the wind, you know. And it's just nothing but me.
Oh, this one.
Here we go. Here we go. That don't give me peace. That should be somewhere else.
Here we go.
WEED. All right, we got a $5 super chat from T. Terrell. Before I let you ladies answer for y'all to share, let's go ahead and acknowledge this super chat. Don't show no video with us pulling no weaves out. Ain't nobody got time for that, because I know you'll do it. He gonna do it anyway, probably.
Oh man, that was
That's some good stuff.
beautiful.
That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff.
Oh man, I know Nightish enjoyed that. That man, that was
Shout out
Mhm.
to Nightish.
And so that super
wow.
chat was from
Podcast salute to the
Night
ladies.
Ish.
Hey,
Thank you for supporting Sherelle. Who is this? Salute. Hey, what we know what's good. How you doing this evening? I was just reading this comment from T Shaw saying I have learned to use emotional intelligence to basically remove those feelings out the way so she can kind of see and hear, and it won't be compromised. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I know Beautifully Animated asked the question earlier, don't your feelings play a part in it? Yeah, they play a part, but you got to, those are just feelings. And we
Yeah.
have to acknowledge the fact that feelings are temporary. And that's one of the things that we don't like to own a lot of times. Our feelings are temporary. Emotions are temporary, right?
Well,
And
I
so
say,
they're so, hear me out, Beautifully Animated. Hear me out. They're so temporary to the point where you may feel some way about something one period. You may be emotionally tied to something, but then as time progresses, as you deal with some things, you don't even have the same type of feeling no more. You don't
yeah.
have that same emotion towards that thing. And that's why this conversation is important to let's address those feelings so we can stop hanging on to them and using them as a crutch because that's what we're doing. We're using them as a crutch. I don't like this and I feel this way about this. Okay, now let's have the crucial conversation. What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because those feelings, those emotions are standing in the way of your way forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why we're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Crutch, not the
Yeah.
crutch.
So thank you, T. Shaw. One day we're gonna get her up here.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get her in the room. She always dropping some jewels.
Now, I always say that emotions aren't logical.
Mm.
You know,
That happens
Mm.
sometimes.
so when people are just like solely going off of emotions, that's where you have problems. Like you have to know and be able to ascertain how to move logically, even though you're having these emotions.
Yeah.
I
You know?
definitely agree with that. You can't
Yeah.
do, yeah, you can't move on emotion. You can't do that. Everything will get messed up because you're making
Yeah.
decisions with your emotions involved, and you can't do that.
All right. Me
Right.
have donut just said, yeah, if you do not place your own happiness second, you are either selfish or messing up priorities. Yeah, messing up priorities. If you do not place them first, you are seen as a hardworking person that slowly destroys themselves. And
Mm.
so that same part way is true. And so
Yeah.
I will encourage everybody that's listening. It's not selfish to put yourself first sometimes.
No,
Okay.
it's
We
not.
have to learn how to say no. We have to learn how to get to a place where we can have an even balance. And so that's where it's hard, even looking in the mirror, having that balance to say, hey, am I, doing a deep dive self evaluation? I'm just looking at the surface level and I don't want to address the stuff that's hidden behind here because I'm afraid of what that truly looks like when I pull it out. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's the same concept, half a dozen
That
in one hand, and whatever's in the other, It's
self
Yeah.
care,
you
self
have to
care as
take that
well.
time to yeah, self-care. You have to take that time to kind of dig into who you truly are. And it's not being selfish to say,
Mm-mm.
hey, look, I just don't have time for you right now. Sherelle said it. Tell your people, don't call me with that stuff. Not this week. You know, this is my period in which I need. Don't do that. Don't call me with that.
Yeah.
But
Cell phones, the calls drop nowadays. Sometimes you pick up the phone and somebody start running you that stuff and you at your place of peace and you trying to dig into yourself. And the moment they get to talking, okay, friends and family, I ain't do this in real life, but you can hear me? If you can hear me, I can't hear you. Hello? Hello? If you can hear me, call me back.
No, sir.
So,
No, sir.
baby,
You better than me. I better click.
let
Wow.
let the phone go. I love y'all. I ain't do it in real life all the
No, no, no,
time.
no, no. Here you go. Here you go. Like more, yeah. Like you were saying. Like you were saying. You be on the phone. They come talking that sideways stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I got something going on. Let me call you right back.
Yeah. You got to call you right back.
That's it. Never get called. Nope.
Right.
Ain't got time for it.
And Poppy, don't start no stuff in this chat. I see everybody add you. I'm gonna go catch up to the messages in a minute because I know you probably cutting up.
But you know.
Oh Jesus.
But you know what? I wanted to point out real quick. In this moment, to break down dynamic real quick. Intimacy being in a, like I pointed out earlier, one of the points was in a cozy environment. We all have gotten together tonight in a certain place in the house where we're sitting and we're comfortable, we're cozy right now, to where we cut out whatever distractions. Like I said, I elbowed Trey, like cut him out. Get the distractions out the way.
Put the dog in the kennel.
Yeah, I mean, to have a moment to ourselves, but with other people. And so it's like 2 times of intimacy being checked off on a self point, and being able to be around people in which we could share ideas and talk, and discuss this. That means a lot. So
yeah, we're definitely having an intimate conversation.
That's a
thank
great
you for
point,
pointing
Alexis.
that out. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
And so
that's a great point.
With
like-minded, people.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard somebody refer to like the instructions they give you at the airplane? Put the mask on yourself first.
Yep.
Then the other person.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta take care of yourself. How you gonna take care of other people and yourself is a wreck?
Right. All right. Straight up wreck.
Yeah.
That's right. Can't be done.
You can follow those instructions in real life.
Yeah. So getting to that quiet time, that was the question I asked you ladies before the super chat. What quiet time do y'all create for yourselves just on a regular basis? Not just cutting off everything, not just fasting and getting into, but on a regular basis, how do y'all find quiet time?
I listen to rock music.
Go ahead, TJ. I saw you come unmuted first.
Well, since I'm retired, I have a lot of quiet time. So
rub it in our face, why don't you?
What's all in it?
Just but even before then, I guess I go back to the days, growing up. My mom, we would clean house on Saturdays. We would listen to music. So I listen to music, and especially music of not this crap now, but I'm talking about 70s, 80s, some 90s, maybe some early 2000s. But I listen to all kind of music, and before I know it, I've cleaned up the whole house, I've rearranged furniture, I've done. But again, it's just, and even dancing around the house, because again, music soothes the soul, and I find a lot of enjoyment even just being in the house listening to music, because the music that is really good music takes you to a different place or a reminiscing time. So that's what I do, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Alexis from Texas, how about you?
Good one, black man. That's a good
why you thinking about that? Let me just go ahead and address this, because he gets on my nerves. He gets on my nerves. So what advice do you have for women who think sleeping around is their peace?
Stop it.
So
when they catch the STD, they won't be in peace no more.
Get back to the middle. They need to tune into this conversation right here on Black Men Unfiltered Network. They need to tune in to Talk That Talk Tuesdays. They need to listen to the barbershop, see what the men talking about. They need to listen to other people's channels. So, ladies, wherever y'all at, make sure before we end this show, y'all represent where y'all. I know Auntie TJ always got something popping on her, even on her IG. Love your closet, by the way. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anywho, but follow these women and follow the conversations that they're having. And
it's the low self-esteem. Yeah.
It could be low self-esteem, but we have to acknowledge the fact that now there's this broken, and I'm gonna call it broken, But this broken, what's the word I'm looking for? Where people have this declaration. Hey, Christina with the K. I hope all is well with you. Glad you're in the conversation. I ain't saying I know I said that some type of way, but she know why I said it that type of way. Knowing where to say no, and know where to draw your boundaries. And so thank you for representing. Appreciate you being here. And so it's not low self-esteem. It's like this broken identity where some women have said, oh, they feel empowered. I'm trying to figure out what's this new this new lingo that they're calling it, but they feel empowered with themselves sexually and all this other stuff. So they feel like they've taken ownership of their sexual identity. Anybody jump in if you know where I'm going with this. So now they get the power to kind of choose what they do.
I just can't.
It's
sexual liberation is not liberation.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been liberated sexually, and they feel like we have don't say entitled. They feel entitled too because they were liberated sexually, and so now they feel that they can do this, and that's a whole movement now. And so I can't just say that now it's just low self-esteem, but some women are doing this. Like a video we saw that was in barbershop last week, and one chick was saying, oh, I mean, if I get to know somebody else, I mean, I got male friends that I slept with. I mean, we just did it, and I'm like, let's go ahead and get this out the way so we can focus on our friendship. Like, that's okay. I'm like, girl, you crazy.
Or, woman, if you're the opposite sex, they just don't have to be your best friend, maybe, unless they already were.
So can you don't have to be with somebody you already fucked?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, wow.
I got a couple friends.
I don't think that's a platonic
You know what it is? Sometimes it's all about, let's just get this out the way. Now that it's out the way, we can actually focus on the friendship. It's not that's not the point of entry.
Yeah,
not for every guy friend. But literally. Yeah.
But I feel like, okay, yeah, that ain't my friend. It's just
That's
real
not my
cordial.
friend.
Like, it's like, hey, what's up?
Sometimes those are the closest friends, though. I think sometimes with guys that you've fucked in the past, it could be, for me, it's not every single guy that's my guy friend I fucked. I ain't fucked you yet. But some of them I would have, and it's like it's just a different bond, right? It's a different, more like I can talk to you.
You didn't instantly bond.
Okay.
Crazy.
That's my face.
They're twisted.
Go ahead, Auntie.
There's something. I don't even know.
Well,
we'll let Auntie go first.
If we tell ourselves enough things enough times, we believe it. And the truth of the matter is, they're lying to themselves, and they won't realize that they've lied to themselves until they get to a certain point in their life when they want more and nobody wants them, or no one takes them seriously. So, and it is, you can say that it's not low self-esteem, but essentially it is, because if you think more of yourself, and y'all talked about the boundaries and, the standards and the expectations for yourself, there are just certain things you're not going to do. And they, like I said, they can lie to themselves and say that it doesn't bother them because they're young enough to believe that that's true. But I'll guarantee a few more years. And again, when they can't find anybody to take them seriously, then they're going to, really, that's when they're going to have to sit in the mirror and look in the mirror and really say, okay, I did this to myself.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it.
That's right. That's right. Auntie hit it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. All right. Talking about liberation. That's a bunch of bull crap.
I'm just saying, that's what they putting it on now. They saying.
But just like Auntie said, they going to look around all of this, running around, rigmarole, and jumping here and jumping there. Come on now. It ain't the same for women as it is for men when you call yourself sleeping around. Go on and do it, because they figure, oh, okay, why not? Men do it, so I'm going to do it. With bam, boom. Okay, some years down the line, just like Auntie said, you're going to look around. Who you got?
Yeah.
What you got to show for how you've been here. This is your life. What you got? Who you got? Where they at? They ain't looking
very
for
much
you.
So.
And then if they know your reputation, they don't want you. But then you probably find somebody.
Don't nobody want them, but Poppy. Poppy Blanco want them.
But you are not going to end up with the one that you won't.
Well, the thing about it, they're so stupid. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it up. They're so stupid that they're going to eat their own words for the world to see is going to bite them in the behind. Because again, I'm not saying that people in my generation didn't do stupid stuff, because we did, but there's no proof.
Yeah, them guys gonna be like, bro, if I become her friend, I know I can get
no
it.
proof.
But
Love it.
Yeah.
but what's even messed up that 100, okay, just to be nice, I'll say 95%. 95% of men that have sexual intercourse, they come automatically. No, like automatically.
Mhm.
Women, the average woman that, and some women don't even know if they've ever orgasmed, and then there's a statistic that some women may never orgasm. Like, so you go out here just flinging it, and you ain't even 95% of the time orgasming.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
just look, you know what? I'm just gonna think on a level as far as forget morals. Just throw morals out for a minute. You ain't even like the pleasure part. So you just doing it
Yep.
just like
Just
like
I say you got one or two choices: be a hoe or be celibate.
And with that being said, we're gonna pause and welcome in high value wives. And I ain't gonna ask her which one she gonna be, because it says high value. Okay? We're gonna let the name speak for itself. Welcome in the room, high value wives. I hope you've been tuning into the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, how are
How
y'all
you doing
doing?
today?
Yay.
Thank you
Hi.
for having me. Yeah, I've been kind of in and out, but I was more so here at the beginning of the conversation. Um,
Yeah.
and I think the question, do you know yourself, that kind of struck me because I've heard women say that for years, like get to know yourself, spend time with yourself. You
Yeah.
know, do you know who you are? And from what I've seen, I don't know that produces results. You know, I've always said that you just need to know who you need to be. You know, especially when we are people who are ever changing, like we're constantly changing. So when you spend time to get to know yourself, you know, you could feel something completely different, you know, next week, next month. But if you know who you need to be, you know, when you have your list of personality traits that a woman needs to have to be valuable, um, you don't need to waste time getting to know yourself in this moment. It's more so, what do I need to become? And what do I need to do to become that? Um, there's another podcast that I used to frequent a lot, and that's what she focused on. She focused on those qualities that make women beautiful. And we would talk about those qualities. We would look up the definition of those qualities and we talk about how we could attain those qualities. So and that's why I liked her podcast, because it wasn't focused on, well, find out who you are right now. It was more so, this is actually what you need to be. So let's focus on that. Same way we teach our daughters. You know, we teach our daughters what they need to be. We don't teach them to get to know who you are. It's I'm guiding you on who you need to be. Same thing as a grown woman. You know, there's who I need to be, and I need to achieve that. That needs to be my constant goal.
All
So
right.
I wanted to touch. Go ahead, TJ.
Go ahead. I ain't gonna answer. I'm gonna let TJ cook, and before I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'm gonna say something before I let Auntie go. So hang on one
Yeah,
second, Auntie. You up next?
she can go. That's all. Because I want her to respond to that. That's what I had to say on the you know, knowing who you are piece.
Yeah, that brings us to our next point. Acceptance. Acceptance is personal, and it's identifying. And so that's my next question to the ladies. I'll let TJ go ahead and respond, and then I'll share what I had on the point. But you share some good points. Who you need to be, and then not wasting time in the moment. I'll go back and touch bases on that, but I'm gonna go ahead and let Auntie have it.
Well, I don't necessarily completely disagree with that perspective, but you know, I look at it this way. When you're in a mall, if they still have those, Um, when you're trying to look for a store, you see where the store is, but it's based on, it says you are here. So you know where you are in proximity to where you're trying to go.
Right.
So it starts there. And I'm not suggesting that people or women specifically spend a lifetime trying to figure it out, because I think that gets in the way. But a lot of us, I'll just use myself as an example, came to be the person I was based on my life experiences that my mom had given me. So
Right.
she couldn't give me a lot of the things that I needed to know to be the woman that I am today as a wife. Why? Because I didn't see her doing that. So
Right.
I think it took me some evaluation to say, okay, this is where I am right now. I have to know this. And is where I am right now and have gotten to this point, has it gotten me what I wanted? Even if I didn't realize where I was at that moment, I would not have taken the steps to change. So I think both can be true. I don't think that we should spend our lifetime, particularly our beautiful youth, trying to figure that out. But I think it's important, because I think if we don't, particularly, because adolescence is crazy in and of itself, and we have so many things pulling at us, and we don't know what we are. But if we don't, if we are unfortunate, like I was, not to have all the proper influences to help guide me to the person I want to be. If we're not as fortunate as my granddaughter is now to have two parents, a healthy, family structure, they're going to be those women, like young women like myself, who are going to make the unnecessary mistakes to know that they not knowing that they're messing up their prospects in the future. So I think it's important to know where you are at that moment in proximity to where you're trying to go. So
And
I
you,
think
you
both
said
are true
something
at the same
different,
time.
TJ.
Huh?
You said something different. You said we need to know where we are, and I actually think that that's important. But what I've heard women say for years is you need to know who you are, and that's different. Like who I am as a person, is different from like where I am. When you want to know where you're stationed, that is necessary in order to get to where you need to be. But for years, I've heard women say, just, you need to know who you are. Haven't seen that produce a lot of results. But like I said, I find that when you focus on what you need to be, that is more likely to produce results versus kind of stewing in who am I, you know let me do some inner work, let me go on this self-finding journey, let me, you hear women say things like that, and I feel like, you we need someone to just put it in perspective for us, and that no, it's a waste of time. You're wasting a lot of time doing that. You need to focus on the personality traits that you need, that are going to help you be of higher value to other people. And most women want marriage, most women want children. You need to focus on the qualities that you need to have in order to be successful at that. But if you kind of stew in who you are, I mean, where does that really get you? So
Thank you for that
if it's
question.
not, if it hadn't have been something I hadn't heard for years, and I've hadn't witnessed women get progressively worse over time, I would have nothing to say. But it's one of those things where, you look back 10 years ago and I'm like, dang, women were saying the same thing 10 years ago, and we are worse than we've ever been. We are the worst generation on this planet. And we still talking about find
Let
yourself,
me.
learn yourself, and I just
I'm playing double dutch, high value wives.
yeah.
I'm about to get ready to jump in. My rope over here turning, and so I'm gonna let you keep doing your ditty. But I'm about to do my little. I got my little shoulder rock going because I'm gonna jump in a second. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think that was pretty much it. It's just
Yeah.
it's hearing that over the years, not seeing results, and then when you keep hearing this, like, okay, wait a second, y'all, hold on. Because we're not
And
getting
that's
nowhere
why
with just finding us.
we're having this conversation, because the difference between the conversations you've heard in the past and the conversation you having now, we're talking about solutions. We're not saying, and if you were watching the beginning of the show, you would have heard us say, we're at a point now we're trying to identify who we are so we can pave that way forward. It's just as TJ said, if we don't identify who we are, how can we see where we are now, where we're trying to go? We have to stop and take an assessment of who we are. And so you just made a point, you just made a statement saying we have to determine how to make ourselves high value for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so asking the question, who are you? Are you who you are? We were talking about it earlier, because you want to be like somebody, you want to see yourself as somebody else, you want to be accepted in this role, whatever the case may be. Is that the reason why? Is that what's defining you at this very moment? But taking the opportunity, I think, is very important, and it's not a waste of time. The conversations that were happening in the past were get to know yourself and be okay with yourself, and then stop there. We're not saying that in this conversation. We're saying get to know who you are. What are your triggers? How do they make you feel? Acknowledge those feelings so you can figure out your way forward. Take the time to get to know the inner you so you can stop carrying around, and I'm going to say what it truly is, the extra baggage that you're carrying around from your past. Like you're saying, I've had these conversations several times and I hadn't saw any results. Now I'm looking back, and why was I wasting time focusing on myself when I needed to have been focusing on where I wanted to be? That's a trigger for you to automatically think that we're here just to say, hey, define who you are, leave it at that. No, we're defining who we are so we can pave the way forward, because we have to identify who we are. Most of us identify with roles. And so I'm going to ask you ladies, who are you? Answer me that. Who are you, high value wife?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
I am a child of God, and I believe that my purpose here as a woman is to do his will based on what the scripture says. That's the
You
whole
gave me a role and a purpose.
Huh?
I said you gave me a role and a purpose. And I'm
Mhm.
asking you, who are you?
Well, that is who I am.
So you are your role and your purpose.
Well, I don't think I've ever pondered on that question. And the reason why I haven't is because, I mean, I'll give you this. If you can give me a very good reason as to why that is important, or more
So
important
you
than
can
your
know your
role and
place.
your, huh?
So being a child of God, you would understand your role better. Who are you in that role? If you have a purpose, what are you to that purpose? What do you have to put towards that purpose?
Obedience. That's what I have. That's how you fulfill the purpose. It's through obedience.
And again, that's to a role that's not defining who you are. Most of us gonna say, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a child of God, I'm an employer, I'm an employee, I'm a friend, I'm this, I'm that. But being able to look in the mirror and say, who are you?
Why is that important?
I mean, it's important to identify, because in those moments, you identify your triggers. And just like we're having this conversation right now, you don't want to look in the mirror, and I ain't calling you out on nothing. So you don't want to say, I am this person deep down inside. Come on,
Now
Auntie.
you said looking in the mirror is identifying, identifying your triggers, but you're also not your
Yeah, and
triggers
identifying
either.
your truth. You're not your triggers, and you're not, but to identify your truth. You know who you are. Come on, Auntie, because you're stewing.
I want to
If
go
you could
after
just,
Auntie because I've been having something to say.
well, Queen, really quick, if you could just answer my question. I want to know why knowing who you are is more important than your role and your
We
purpose.
didn't say it was more important. We said it leads to getting to know your role and your purpose. So being able to
You know what?
identify.
I'm sorry. That actually wasn't my original question. I think my question was, what is the purpose of knowing who you are?
That purpose goes back to knowing who you are helps you navigate to your purpose and where you should be or want to be in life.
It navigates you to your purpose?
Yeah, it helps you navigate your way forward.
They work
Because
together.
if you don't, They work hand in hand. If you're standing in a situation and you say, I'm a broken individual, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm a broken individual, I've been hurt by these things, I've had to deal with these things in life, identifying I am this way.
So you
Identifying,
are your personality traits.
No, I'm not talking about personality traits, because those are not personality traits. And so if you're saying I'm this way, and I'm this inside, this is who I am, this a broken individual, how do I get past that? Identifying who you are, and then being able to move past that moment. These things have happened. These things have made me feel this way. These things is I've experienced these things in life. So when I get down the road 10, 20, and 30 years from now, and I run into somebody, say for instance, that high value person that I've now come to say, hey, this is somebody I want to be with, or somebody I want to be like, I want to get to this particular role. Have I successfully dealt with that person back then so I can be this person now? Because if you want to be this person,
make it simple for me. As far as who you are you saying who you are is basically your emotional state?
No, it's not just your emotional state. It's everything. It's not just one thing.
Define it.
And so let me read Information Man's comment. Self-identity is very important. Who you are and who you fit into the universe spiritually and emotionally. How you fit. And so, again, same thing. Identifying who you are is very important. I'm going to get to your question, because I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to pinpoint and do a wordplay game. And so I'm going to go ahead and let Auntie go ahead and chime in, and then
you were asking me a question, and I
asked you a question and you didn't answer it.
Huh?
I asked you a question. You answered your question with a question. You never answered the question. So I'm going to go ahead and let Auntie get off what she needed to get off. That was to your point then. And then I'll let Mo go ahead and share her point that brought to that, and then we'll come back to the circular conversation. Go ahead, Auntie.
I think who I am is a very sensitive person, a very compassionate person. I think who I am is a very, I'm very, I already said sensitive. I'm giving. I'm hardworking. I'm loving. I am nurturing. I am, I'm humorous. I'm all those things. I'm feminine, yet I'm hard when I need to be hard. I am analytical, but mostly emotional. I am a result of my successes as well as my failures. And because of those failures, I know that I have to be more mindful. I had to be more mindful in my choosing. And if I didn't come to realize and also who I am is I'm insecure in ways. And I had to come to terms with all of those things of who I was to be able to recognize when someone was not treating me right. There were some people that could not be trusted with my insecurities. There were people who could not be trusted with my giving, my caring, my nurturing. So, but I hadn't come to terms with everything of who I was, because I was still trying to reach, and I was still trying to impress and be what I thought somebody else wanted to be, because I wasn't completely comfortable with who I was. So once I really came into realize, okay, this is me, flaws and all, now I can recognize what I truly want, and I can be that person for that person. So that's how I would answer it. Because I would say, had I not realized truly and accepted everything about who I am, who I was, but yet who I wanted to be, because I wanted to be a wife. I did. I wanted to know what that felt like before I left this earth. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had the wherewithal to recognize that man who could be trusted with all these things that are me.
Yeah. Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Miss Mo, what you got?
I hope I got something left following Miss TJ. I don't know.
She hit it. She hit it. But we have to identify who we are in order for us to pave that way forward.
She really hit the hammer on the head with a lot of what she said as far as, who am I? I am this person. And I mean, yeah, you took a lot of the words that I was going to say, so I will not repeat anything of what you said, because yeah, it is what it is. Because so I just am piggybacking on a lot of what you said because so I am heck, I had it. Listening to all of that good stuff.
It was good. It was
I
good.
am I am a person who has been on a heck of a journey. I am a person who has lost themselves at one particular point in time, but then I found myself again.
Yeah.
And just because, people, a lot of women, because we're talking about us women, it's very important that we know who we are and we, so-called find ourselves. And no, it doesn't take a long time. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. It might take
Yeah.
a shorter time for this person rather than that person because you also have to remember, so you also have to think about their life experiences, their environment, how they were raised or what they have encountered or what they have been subjected to. It may take some people longer than other people, but it's very important, I think, to know who you are emotionally, physically, mentally, even financially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sexually. You have to know these things about yourself before you can even entertain the thought of, okay, I know everything that I am and what I and what I tolerate, what I don't tolerate, blah blah blah. Now you're talking about trying to make sure you have all of the necessary traits and qualities of trying to be someone's wife.
Yeah.
But you have to
Versus.
know what's going on within yourself in dealing, make sure you have dealt with all of the excess baggage that sometimes we put in the bottom of the closet and try
Yeah.
to move on. But then when you're with that one and they hit that button,
Mm.
then and then we know if it's something that we have or have not dealt with, we know.
Yeah.
But that's why
I
it's
want to.
so important, I think. Come on, you got to know who you are. You got to know what's in here. You got to know the truth about yourself before you can start thinking about, trying to make sure you gather all of these traits and values that are needed to be a wife.
Because then, how do you translate?
As far as where you're trying to get to, you know what I mean? You you,
Yeah.
you have to start someplace, and you have to have a journey to find that one place first for yourself. Then you can start entertaining. Oh, okay, I'm ready. I need to make sure that I'm right before I can invite
I know how to
somebody
deal
in
with this
or
situation
before they
accordingly.
invite me in. I got to know who I am and what I
Yeah.
want. Part of knowing who I am is knowing what I want or who I want or where I want to go. You got to know what's in you.
Yeah, I just want to read the perfect tension. The comment was the purpose of knowing who you are will let you serve better in your role as a Christian. Even when asked or even when questioned, the answer was "I am that I am." And so he's quoting when Jesus was asked, "Who are you?" And he said, "I am that I am.
Moses.
I am who you say I am too. I am that I am." He just is. And so, how do we get to the point where we just are? And so, the question I was asking the ladies, "Who are you?" And basically to be accepting of who you truly are to yourself,
I
whether
have a
you are
question.
sure.
Can I ask a question? Can you be someone? Can someone say, I am someone who lost myself, then found myself?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
have.
possible.
Okay.
That happens.
So because what I'm getting here, I'm getting like multifaceted answers, and I went on Google where people are trying to define themselves, and it's all different. Like, what's the source as far as how you define yourself correctly?
I think Auntie just said that everybody's journey is different. Or was that you, Mo, that said everybody's journey of self-discovery is different? Nobody have the same path in life. And so Google, first off, is a search where a lot of people get to drop in a lot of different knowledge from different places, and some of it is personal and some of it is factual, or whatever the
Yeah,
case
it's a
may be.
personal question.
Yeah, so it's
It's not
definitely a
like
person.
facts or research or anything like that.
Right. So you Googled it and got different responses. You're going to get different responses on this panel. Neither one of us on this panel came from the same place. Even you yourself,
Right.
we hadn't come from your journey, so we don't know what that looks like from you. From
So
you mentioned,
when I describe myself as like a servant of God, I'm a mother and I'm a wife, like that's who I am.
mhm,
Um, it seems like you're saying, wait, you can't do that, but
I didn't say
TJ,
you
she can.
can't.
No. Well, I said it's like you're saying that, not that you actually said that, but when you say, no, that's a role and that's a purpose, I need you to give me something else. But then TJ, she describes herself with adjectives. You have Miss Mo who says, I'm someone who lost myself and found myself. I don't see you
And she continued describing
stopping them
herself with
and saying
adjectives.
that, huh?
And she continued to describe herself with adjectives. You describe yourself as a role. And the only thing I ask, I say, though, that's a role.
So
You
can
you
you
mentioned
not
your
do?
role and your purpose. You can be, if that's who you are and that's who you truly are to yourself, I
Mhm.
have to accept that. I didn't tell you you were wrong. I said you gave me a role and a purpose. I'm asking you who you are.
Is
And
that
so it's
not
not,
telling someone that they're answering the question wrong when they say, when you stop them and you say, no, that's a role and a purpose. Who are you? Isn't that the same
your
as telling?
follow up, guess what your follow up was? That is who I am. I am a
Mhm.
child of God, and that's it. And I say, okay.
Well,
And
I
then
don't.
you
That's
ask me
not
to
what you said.
define it.
We were
I,
going in circle. We were
we
going
were
in
going in
circles.
circles because you wanted me to then define. And so I'm like, we both said what we said,
Well, you
and we're
said
gonna
role.
leave it at
It's a
that.
role and a purpose. You said it twice. After the second time, when you said, "Wait, no," remember that's a role and a purpose. That's why it was a circular conversation. You didn't say, "Okay, well, if that's who you are, all right, Miss TJ." It was circular because you didn't accept my answer. That's why it
Because
was
you asked
circular.
me a question and I answered your question, and you kept asking me to repeat the
I asked
question.
you that
But we ain't
question
gonna talk
after
about
your
that right now because we ain't
after
here for
I
that.
talked to you.
So we are definitely here
No,
to have the conversation
I
to
thought
get
we
to
were
a
having a
solution.
constructive conversation
We're having a
about
construction
people.
conversation to get to a solution as to how people in this situation who are on a journey to define themselves, how can we get to a place to say, hey, this is who I am, this is where I want to go, and this is the work that I'm going to do to get there. And so you and I can continue to discuss this in the back chat. But for the sake of everybody that's listening into the show, we're not going to make this a Queen Smiley and High Value conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just don't
We're
want
going to
people
make
to
this an
walk away
inclusive
thinking that if they
conversation.
define themselves as a role and a purpose, that's an issue.
No,
Because when you leave it there, some people who may be watching, they may feel the same way and they may have a question mark like, hey, well, that's how I would define myself. But I feel like, so all this is, it's not, I'm not trying to be argumentative. It's just a clarification because I'm not clear on the whole who are you conversation or how you answer it or how you do it correctly. That's why I'm listening to the other ladies. I went to Google to see, is there a correct way to define it? Since you asked the question and you seem to know based on how you answered me how to answer it, I'm just asking you for clarification. Well, how would you define it? Because now I'm not clear, because you're insinuating that something I'm saying is wrong. So that's
Can
all.
I
It's clarification. And to me, I don't look at it as an argument. I look at it as, hey, this is just good conversation. So maybe for the people who are watching who aren't clear on what you meant by that, by challenging me, maybe you could clear that up. But we can move on.
can I just real quick? I'm sorry. I remember, and it was okay. I'll put it to you like this: when my daughter, and I put it in the chat, when my daughter got ready to graduate high school and go off to college, I was grappling with who was I apart from being her mother. I had forgotten all the things that made me me
Mhm.
prior to having my daughter. I forgot that I used to love to write poetry. I forgot that I sang. I forgot that all those things that made me who I was before I became my daughter. I had to Mo's point, read it. And I said I had to rediscover myself, because for all those years, I was Danielle's mother. And that is how I defined myself. And that is who I was. But I had to ask myself, apart from being her mother, and had I been married, apart from being a wife and mother, who was I? What made me Terry before I became all those other things? And I think that's how I'm trying to answer. And I'm not sure if that
and that's helping, TJ. That's helping, Auntie, because that's the very reason why I asked the question. Again, you're defining yourself as a role, but who are you? And again, how about you? I'm with you, not trying to have an argument, and I don't consider this an argument. I just don't want it to be a debate that lasts too long where we can't get to the rest of the conversation, and so the full context of the conversation is not covered. So that's why I say, look, I don't want to go back and forth about it. Let's just go ahead and move forward. But again, I asked the question again.
One thing up? I just want to ask you just one question, then I'm gonna mute myself. Is there, when you ask who are you, is there a right or wrong answer?
There's no right or wrong answer. Like you said, if that's how you define yourself, then by all means. I should have just let that go, but I really wanted to dig a little deeper for you to give me something else outside of that role.
And I was actually looking for your help there, Queen. I was looking for your help, because after I defined it as that, you wanted more. So I was asking for your help. Okay, well, what does more look? What do you mean more? But it seemed like you were going around it. But maybe I misunderstood. But I was just trying to get some clarification.
Yeah, it was just that. Just saying, who are you as an individual? And so what the lady shares on the panel is exactly what I was looking for. Oftentimes we identify with roles and what other people want us to be. And that was the part about accepting who you are personally. And it says it goes hand in hand with honoring yourself, because we have to trust that we know what's best for us, spending that time for us, and then acceptance, allowing yourself to not go by the judgment of other people, right? And so allowing yourself to just be, and somebody put in the comment, I am who I am. Allowing yourself to just be, and not just be the role, not just identify yourself with whatever role, whatever purpose you have, but take a moment to step back and say, I am this right now. I want to be in this place moving forward. How do I get to this place? And so we have to
adjectives, basically, like personality traits. That's like how you define it, right?
Yeah.
If that's how you want to define it, I mean, some people are going to define it as adjectives, some people are going to define it as roles.
But the fact of the matter, I've never heard someone say, "Oh, now we see who you really are," And when they say that, they're describing the person's personality traits. Like, you presented yourself as this, but now you're doing this, and now I see you for who you are. So the more I think about it, the more I kind of resonate with how people communicate, as opposed to, girl, wait till you find out who she is. Wait, you'll see who she really is.
And that's it.
And they're talking about personality traits. And that's why I'm trying to understand the question, who are you? And it seems like TJ was more accurate with maybe the correct way to answer as far as how humans communicate, because she's giving adjectives. So when you ask, well, who are you? I guess the correct way, as far as how humans communicate, would be, oh, I'm loving, I'm fun, I'm sometimes insecure. You use adjectives. So would you agree with that?
Some people use emotions too. Some people say, I'm angry,
I'm depressed,
I'm scary, I'm depressed. Some people use emotions. Like I said, you can describe whatever is true to you. That's what the conversation is about, being true to who you are. Right. And so however you want to define it, how value-wise, those who are listening in, however you want to define the who you are right now, so you can get to where you want to be, define that, write it down. Okay. If you want to take a picture of it and save it in your phone, put it on a sticky, put it on your mirror, look at that each and every day, so you can say, this is who I am right now. This is where I want to be. And so that's the purpose of the conversation. Lady Navoa, is that you? I ain't got my glasses on, and I ain't got that on. I made it. I can't see.
Hey, lady.
Hey. So we're going to welcome in Lady Navoa.
Hey, y'all. Hey, beautiful.
Very seldom do we get to see you all here.
Hey, Miss Mo. Hey, you doing, love? There you go. Keep smiling, because you finna turn somebody up. How are
no,
you, wives? How are you, love?
not at
Hey,
all.
Auntie TJ, and hello, Alexis. I was just gonna come in. I was gonna start off and say I and who I was, because that way. But Auntie TJ had, did it already. Because I was like, she's on the right path, but I don't think she understanding what you're talking about without trying to shame anybody. Because I love that she said what she said. I am a woman of God, but she wanted you to go deeper than that, and they already explained that. But I was just gonna come on and
Yeah.
just start off like that with who I was and all that, and then maybe that would have helped. You know what I'm saying? Because if you identify yourself, it will help you.
Thank
You
you for
gotta know
joining. And
who
let me
you
say
are.
this. Let me say this, Lady Navoa. That's the reason why we have this panel of women with different perspectives coming from different places, so we can share openly in this atmosphere. You know, we're having an intimate conversation, and these conversations get deep, and that's okay. You know, we may not always be able to articulate our points or whatever we're trying to get to, but there's so many different perspectives in this panel just by itself. We're always able to get to a place. We're always able to get to a place of understanding and peace. And so that's what we're here for. We're here for the conversations.
Hey,
So,
can I
I
real
appreciate
quick?
all of it.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
I
Come on,
just real
Alexis.
quick wanted to throw in some Insta Jesus for high value. Um David. David had to know himself in order to know what would work for him when he went to fight Goliath. When he went to fight Goliath, you remember at first they were trying to, was it Saul trying to give him some of his armor and stuff, but David knew that wasn't him. He grew up, a
Yeah.
sheep boy, the smallest of the brothers and stuff like that. He knew, this is who I am. I know how I can fight to benefit myself as a child of God, because he was a believer. He got blessed. And so in that fight, he took down Goliath in a way in which he knew that he could, in knowing himself. He
That's
changed.
it.
He became king. He knew himself to a point to where he thought more of himself, and losing himself, as Miss Mo said, in the point, that was a point of David losing himself, thinking he can have somebody's wife killed and just live his life. But I mean, I think two things can be right at the same time. It's important to know yourself even as a child of God, so you can know when those certain gifts and talents that you thought maybe I had tucked away, God is using me in this purpose to use those. And having the discernment, knowing yourself, we can almost equivalent to discernment in some point.
Right. So what
That brings
happened
it
with
around full circle.
what happened with David and Goliath? That so David didn't kill Goliath based off of his own strength. He killed Goliath based off of the strength that Jehovah God gave him. And that's why before he killed him, he said, Jehovah will help me kill Goliath. So it was really a display of God's strength, not more so of who he was, because when you think about a slingshot and a rock, right, it's a joke. But when you step up with that slingshot and that rock, and you say that basically God is behind this, God is going to help me do this, it was more so a way to display the power of God versus who this is, like who I am. Like, I know myself, and I know I'm skilled with a rock and a slingshot, you know.
So,
So
so for the sake of time, and I hate to cut you off, but for the sake of time, we're going to move to the next point. But I just want to point out to what Alexis just said. I'm going to put it back to the beginning. It was David knowing who he was and saying, "No, I'll pass on the armor." That goes back to the beginning of our conversation. We said, first things first, we have to learn how to say no to some things. We have to learn how to not buy into what other people think we should be doing or how other people view us. We need to stick to our true selves. And that goes back into knowing who we are and knowing where we are, so we can start planning the way forward. Regardless of what powers you got behind you, you need to know, because everybody shared on the panel, hey, I get to my perfect peace by taking the time to fast. I find moments to myself by either listening to gospel music or me pulling weeds and all these other things to get to that place where we know the power that's behind us as we begin to pave that way forward. And so we have a couple more minutes to the show. And so I want to get to the last couple points. We talked about, accepting who we truly are. And so identifying that, knowing what we have to bring to the table. Yeah, it's a deep conversation for real, Brother David. I'm loving these conversations. We probably going to, I don't know if we're allowed to go a little longer. I'm going to try not to hold people long because I know some people are in different time zones. So I ain't going to hold nobody longer than what we need to. But these are the deep conversations and the intimate conversations we have to have in order to pave the way forward. Because we don't want to just have the conversation to say, hey, this is who I am and leave it there. No, let's talk about who we are right now in this moment. Now, how can we pave the way forward? And that's where we have to have the conversation. How can we get to a place where we're actually taking action to move forward? And so if you're tuning in, you're just jumping into the conversation. I see a lot of people new to the chat. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell too. Also, where you can find these lovely ladies who are on the panel, beautifully animated, Miss Mo, High Value Wives, Auntie TJ, Alexis from Texas, and Lady DeVoy. You'll find them on different platforms and panels. Drop their information in the chat. Of course, as we get ready to exit the building, I'm going to ask everybody to stick on so they can share too. And so we talked about accepting yourself, being vulnerable. We're all in this conversation right now, being vulnerable and sharing with one another and calling each other out on stuff. I like it. And so I like when we get deep like this. I like when we hold each other accountable. So High Value Wives, thank you. You didn't understand my point earlier. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for keeping it there. Because sometimes we'll get up off each other's neck and we'll let each other just do what we want to do. I wasn't successfully articulating that. So hold me to the fire and hold me accountable. And I'll do a better job moving forward to acknowledge how you feel, acknowledge your point, and then move forward in the conversation. So thank you for being here. But showing up for yourself and being vulnerable. In order for us to have the intimate relationship with ourselves, we have to be honest, we have to be open, and we have to be vulnerable, not just with ourselves, but those who we love and, we want in our lives. So we have to stop playing games, stop playing the victim, stop being the villain, stop being the hero. Okay. We have to be consistent in who we are until we get to that place of growth. Like David says, there's going to be a part 2. Ladies, y'all want a part 2 of this?
I think there has to be, right?
Yeah, we have.
He wants you to bring Bolo though to explain the
continued.
biblical part.
Well, you don't really need, I don't think you need it explained. I think the scripture says it plainly. He said he came in the name of Jehovah of armies. Jehovah was the power behind him killing Goliath. It didn't have anything to do with who he was as a person, his weight, his personality traits. It was simply a display of God's power.
High values. Then why did he have a certain amount of rocks that he chose, and the rocks were a certain way? Again, 2 things can be true at once. He can know himself. As I stated, if it was just like that, why didn't he take the armor? Why didn't he get if it was just, God is going to protect me? He knew God was going to protect him, and he knew that, and that confidence was the point of him saying, no, I'm just getting my slingshot and I'm gonna get these 5 smooth pebbles.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to rewrite. We don't want to rewrite the scripture. We want to make sure we stay with the scripture. So if you can show me in that scripture where, basically to support what you're saying, that look, see, it had more to do or it had something to do with like who he was, or this scripture proves that you have to like know yourself. Like we don't want to add words to the scripture. So when I explain it, I'm going based off of what the scripture says. I'm going based off of David's words. I'm not saying, well, why you think he did this? Okay, why you think he did that? Because think about it. He took 5 rocks. Why you think he chose 5? Okay, well, the scripture don't say that. The scripture just says what it says about what David's words were before he killed Goliath. And that's what we have to go off of. We can't speculate on why he did it.
And so I want to read T-Shaw's comment. We'll finish talking about that in the back chat later, because I think that's a conversation to be had too. We can definitely have a spiritual conversation or a scriptural conversation back in the back chat. T-Shaw said the problem in society today is that women have an identity crisis. We talked about that a little bit earlier, this whole liberation. Women don't know who they truly are, which is why a lot of women are moving the way they are. I was watching a video earlier on Instagram about Kirk Franklin talking about the getting back to naming children the way they're supposed, old names. If y'all saw that, it cracked me up. He said,
My daughter just gave birth to my second grandchild. Beautiful little girl named Levi. Levi's beautiful, but I told my daughter that I think to save the next generation, we need to go back. We need to go back to real names. The baby should have been named Betty, Phyllis, Geraldine, Ruby. See, we moved too far. You know what I'm saying? We need some more Charlene. We got to take it back if we're going to change the world. Bring back Johnny Mae, Jeanette, Deborah. God bless you.
I can't stand him.
That was funny.
Was he lying though?
My mom is Shirley Ann. My aunt is Ruby Mae, Lily Pearl. And
Yeah. And here's why I thought that was hilarious, because it goes back to the point that T-Shaw, we've gotten so accustomed to doing what society wants us to do. To fitting into these boxes, into these roles. Oh, everybody needs to be, no pun at the name. You need to be a high value wife, a high value husband. You need to be this success. You need to be a 6-figure earning, man. You need all these roles. People trying to put us in the box, and so that false identity of who we are is pushing us towards this, and to this point where we're just not making good decisions because we truly don't know who we are. We don't know what we're gonna stand for. We going with the times. We like the leaf on the tree that's just blowing in the wind. And so what our friends are doing, we're doing because we think that's okay, because our friend choices are poor. The men we're selecting are poor. All of these things, we're doing all these things based upon how people see us and how we think people should see us. And we're finding ourselves in a situation where we're naming our daughters Levi. And so it's a beautiful name.
Yep.
However,
realistic said not Betty.
Too many people are trying to keep up with the Joneses.
And so we coming up with names like Destiny and Dior and all these things. And if that's one of y'all children names on the panel in the chat, I ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just saying these children have to get a job.
Hennessy.
Okay.
Margarita.
There's children named. I had this one kid. My daughter was in Head Start, and the girl's name was Shatonia. I wrote it out. I was writing the kid's name on the board, Shatonia. And if you spell it out, it say shit on you. I don't know how the mama came up with the spelling. I don't know if that was the reason, but at the end of the day, it was a poor spelling of the name Shatonia. And so roles are important, damn it. The reason things are out of line is because women are not getting to their roles. Don't make me get these fellas. Well, bring your ass, okay? Come on, quick. Come on, quick, bring it.
Right though,
Black man, you're right.
Black man, right.
I'm not negating that at all. I'm not negating that. But here's the problem we're having. You're finding relationships that are not successful because you have these women who identify as a wife and they hadn't done the work to get there.
Ready? Yeah. It's true. I'm ready.
Yeah, they hadn't done. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, black man, because I'm here for it. I love these conversations. And that's why we're having the conversation. That's why we're here, ladies. So I appreciate each and every one of y'all's perspective, because the fact of the matter is we as women, I ain't going to talk about the men. I'm going to let them do their thing. But we as people, period, have to get back to the middle. We have to take a moment to realize who we truly are. Are we doing the things we're doing in life based upon who we are and where we want to be? Are we doing those things because this is what people, society, and all these other boxes everybody wants us to fill in? what that is. I can't see. Girl, you might got my glasses
Is that
on.
Mr. Goodbar?
That's a Mr. Goodbar.
All right
You made
now.
me grab. You made me grab me with all that goodness you saying right now.
Well, all right
Look,
now.
because we have to get to that point where we figure out that way forward. We can't just exist in this hot mess that we're in. We can't exist in the hot mess that we identified with 10, 15, 20 years ago, and we're still hanging on to those same feelings, those same emotions, and we're not progressing in life because we keep putting ourselves in situations to where when people start holding us accountable, when they say that, oh, I see who you are now, people start holding us accountable, and what we do? We retreat back to who we are, back to what we were, and we don't move forward because we can't get past the girl, this how you truly is. You know, we ain't making a change. What you got, Miss Mo?
I'm just agreeing with Black Man. It's like, women definitely having an identity crisis. A lot of women these days, they just trying to act like a man. They just trying to be. They're trying to be like the. They're trying to be the
trying to play
role
a
of a
different
man. They're
role.
trying to be the man. They're trying to. I just can't say it enough. They're trying to do and be the man role. I know that probably ain't coming out right because I'm tired right about now, but it ain't right. They just they
I
lost
just can't stand it.
they lost it. They're just trying to, because a lot of women are on this thing. Oh well, if they can do it, I'ma do it. Should nobody be saying nothing because if they can do it, I'ma do it too. Yeah,
I don't know
well,
what you're talking about, Miss Mo. I don't know what
they
you're
just
talking
all
about.
they just all twisted up. It's just wrong, and it doesn't help when you're surrounding yourselves with people that are talking to you and telling you certain things, and they just keep going, 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 and you keep subjecting yourself to the trash that they're dumping in your ear. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
we women have lost their way.
Can
They're
somebody
out
mute
of
for me?
order. They've lost their way,
Yeah,
and we
and
need to
and
get
that's
that
true.
back. We need to get that back. Then
Yeah,
people, people
Stop.
when women start talking about the conversation about what it takes to be a wife, what it takes to be a good wife to your husband, and certain things that you really need to do as far as in the home or with the kids or your husband, and you know being submissive and all of that. That's a whole nother conversation too. But once you start talking about all of these things, it's like some women look at you like you got two heads. That is the furthest thing from their mind. They're not thinking about none of that stuff. They're just thinking about what they could get, how much money they got, a car, these shoes, those clothes, men ain't ish, and oh, what can he do for me? You know what I mean? It's all about this. It's all about money. It's all about material things. That ain't it. But that's what it is for a lot of women. Then when we start talking about marriage and commitment and all of that, they look at you like you ain't got no sense. Just because they may have, gone through what they have gone through with whatever relationships that did not work out, you know, which that's unfortunate because you could be all in. And you could be all in with that person that you think is the one, and then something happens.
Yeah.
But then just because that happened,
yeah.
oh, women ain't ish, men ain't ish. Just because of that one experience or two experiences or a few experiences, that doesn't mean
That's dealing with the trauma.
just
That's
give
dealing with
just
the old stuff.
yeah, that doesn't mean just give it up and just that's it. All men are the same or all women are the same. No, it could be a little harder to find that person. Yeah, especially these days. You
We
can't pay me
reached
to,
our
man. Listen, you can't pay me to
yeah.
date. If I had to date somebody, I don't know.
We reached our time limit, ladies. This has been a great
Mm,
conversation. Couple things I
mm,
want to add on top of honoring yourself. Yeah, honoring yourself, trusting your inner authority, accepting accepting who you truly are, being vulnerable, but also take a moment to give some praise and some thanks, show some gratitude.
yeah.
Uh,
Right.
and so, and then also be inquisitive when you find yourself in a moment where you're feeling triggered by some things or you feeling some emotions. Figure out where they're truly coming from. Put Trey's comment back up because that's
Yeah,
why
that's a
I'm
good
a
one.
yeah. That's a good one. So it goes in part, he mentioned that it's not an identity crisis. These are the things that women fought for, we march for, grease politician pockets for. Be careful what you ask for.
Mm,
So being grateful and just having a moment to say thanks for where you are, who you are, and what you got going on. I know all the time it don't look good, but taking an opportunity to step back at the end of the day and just acknowledge what you're truly grateful for. I think if a lot of those women back then took some of these points and used these, then I think we probably wouldn't be as bad off. If we truly
I
just
think a
honor,
lot of lines have been crossed as far as all of
very
that
much so.
stuff.
Yeah, it's all been crossed, and
It
so
was it has they have gone overboard with it because one thing led to another thing and then another thing and then
right,
another thing.
Yeah.
the damage is done. So how do we get back
Exactly.
there?
Exactly.
And so taking a moment to say, hey, some things it's a hard no. Some things is, hey, I need to trust who I truly am and step fast and find a moment of peace. And then also accepting who we are as women, as individuals. And we're talking about
Mm,
just women. So women being vulnerable to our true roles, who we truly are. And then also saying thank you. And just taking a moment to say, you know what, things may not be the prettiest, but thank you for what I have right now. And so, and
mm-hmm.
then also being inquisitive. And so examining those past beliefs, those past experiences, taking the time to look at those things and say, hey, you know what? These things make me feel this way. But the closer I get to knowing who I truly am, if those women took an opportunity to look at what was truly in front of them and address those issues versus doing all the marching, all the grievances, and going too far and overboard to the
Yeah.
point where we are now, maybe we wouldn't be as bad off. If women back in the day took these points from women today, shit, half of us wouldn't be here. You're right.
Right.
Depending on what points you're talking about. You talking about the points in
Right.
this conversation or the points that are on Instagram and Facebook, because those are different points. I'm different points, black man. Um, and so, yeah, I want to go ahead and get you ladies' final thoughts, but it brings us back to the beginning of the conversation, getting to know ourselves on a more intimate level. We're able to look back at our past and kind of rebuild a better way forward. And so, many of us hadn't dealt with a lot of that stuff. And so, when we find ourselves in conversation and we're like, hey, people having a conversation and that conversation makes you feel some type of way or makes you dig deeper into the conversation, that's a notice to yourself that, hey, why am I wanting to know more? Why am I feeling this way about this conversation? How does this truly make me feel? And what am I trying to get out of it? And so, how can I put a pin in this so I won't be able to do this moving forward? And
Right.
so, I want to go ahead and jump into final thoughts. I don't know. We got time to bring some people up to share some thoughts. I don't know. If somebody pop up in here, then I know we do. And if we don't, we're going to keep on pressing forward.
Mm.
Um,
Is it just the ladies?
Um, what y'all want to do?
I think that's what he's doing,
No, we're pressing
ladies.
on forward. Yeah. And so we're just gonna leave it to ladies tonight. We're gonna go ahead and share our final thoughts. Um, yeah, let's get into it. So,
Hey, beautiful.
I never mentioned what I like to do. I listen to rock music. Um. Yeah. So I'm Beautifully Animated Speaks. You can go to my channel, Beautifully Animated Speaks. Um, my other channel is Beautifully Animated, and you can find me here, either on the panel or in the chat. But you can find me here on Black Man's channel.
Hey, there I am. Look at me. so 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 I am Miss Mo Reacts. Of course, you can find me at Miss Mo Reacts on YouTube. I am on, social media as well: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. I am there. I have enjoyed being on this panel. You know, speaking as a more mature woman. You know, I think when anyone and you know, please like and subscribe to Black Men Unfiltered. That would be greatly appreciated, and I appreciate and give thanks. And it was my pleasure to uh, the hostess with the mostest, Queen Smiley. Love her. Loved everybody on the panel. I hope we can do it again. I just want to say real quick that as far um, as far as any suggestions or advice or any opinions that I give or any of the other ladies have given, I think that anyone, and you don't even have to be, you know, a woman, but specifically women, because that's where we are right now. I think any woman who gives all of that on a panel is trying to definitely help someone out there. And I can speak for me, which I, you know, really believe this is true for other ladies on the panel. I know when I give my 2 cents, I know that I can speak on it, especially if I have experience. What gives me the right to speak on certain things? No, not a piece of paper. No, not thousands of hours of going to school or college. No, I have life experience. If I have never, you know, experienced certain things, no, can't speak on it. Don't know anything about it. But when it comes to certain things, I have life experience and I can speak on it. No, I'm not a professional in the psychology, psychiatrist, counselor. No, I'm none of that. And I am not a professional, but I know what I have been through, what I have been experienced in, you know, I know what I have gone through. So I know that I can help someone based upon my advice, my opinion, my take, and my commentary.
Yeah.
So
And we thank you for that, Miss Mo.
that's it. That's all.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
I love it.
Mhm.
I'm
You
next.
you really
Oh, my bad.
you really gonna do your ditty, Lady Devorah. You got the big screen.
I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to do this and plan it because I love listening to you guys and stuff. Shout out to Auntie TJ. She know I love her. I follow her hard. I love beautiful animated how she just dropped the mic. That was dope. Thank you, Miss Mo Reactions. Everything you guys said is good. To the younger generation, if they listen, please take heed to the older generation. You can learn a lot from them. You can learn so much from them, and it's better to learn from them more than disrespecting them. And after just hearing about that little predator dude that's going viral now, the panels are holding, video reactions on him on how he basically teach you how to be a safe predator. He basically sent the mom involved there, but they trying to say it was fake. But what I'm trying to say is, it's the mothers too. It's some of the mothers, not all of them. I gotta be careful what I say. This is why I don't be on panels because I'm too blunt, and when I say stuff that's real, people get mad, especially the feminists. Because I be telling them, I was like, well, you fought for the vote. That wasn't enough. Then we wanted more. Then we wanted to have jobs and work. We didn't want to be at home. It wasn't enough. Then we wanted to have the pay. It wasn't enough, and then it's just more and more until we ain't just satisfied. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm so disgusted how our world turned out, and
Yeah, we didn't take a
we
moment to
just have
say
to
we were
we have to
grateful.
just be there for our we just gotta be there for our youth, and that's the only thing I can say that's gonna be without just a talking point. Just train them how to be wise. Let them serve their little brothers if they got little brothers, or their dad if the dad is in the house. Just to give them, the idea, what I'm saying, without you just saying, I'm trying to train you how to be a wife, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do all that. Just do it. That's how my mom did me. You know what I'm saying? That's how she did me, and she trained me that way. But we just have to be involved and just stop letting them figure it out by themselves and just be involved. That's the only thing I could say because I wasn't too much on the panel, but I heard everything. I'm sorry, and I heard everything or whatever. But shout out to y'all. Just keep doing these panels, and we'll go from there. I
Well,
told
thank you,
you.
Lady Navor. Thank you
No,
for
sorry.
jumping in. We
My
appreciate
bad,
it.
my husband.
You're fine. Look, take
He
care of
was like,
him.
"Oh, I'm on the screen." I was like, I told you." And I kept looking. That's why I was looking at like, it ain't muted, But I'm just saying, like, for real, I love you, guys, and Queen Smiley. I'm gonna have to do this one time with you, fully because it's a lot I be wanting to say. I be listening to it because I ain't gonna lie. I learned from y'all, TJ, Auntie. I don't call you that. My mom probably just slapped me. I felt it. Auntie TJ, I don't call you that because we ain't homies. I wasn't raised up with you, so I'm gonna respect you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. And I'm finna get off. How you asking me out without me leaving?
I love.
Why? 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 Why?
She be holding us down in the chat. Alexis from Texas. Final thoughts.
Man. Well, first off, I want to say that the show was awesome. So, next, I want to leave my thoughts of final to be this. And just maybe a little petty in parentheses, but as a Christian, we have to know ourselves. We have to know ourselves. I'm not trying to hear all this people trying to be so legalistic and want to make sure whatever gospel that they're listening to, being preached to, whatever is in line. Man, God said he knew you when you was in the womb. God knows you. God knows you. And you gotta know you. You gotta know you to be able to be a child of God, to know like I'm weak around certain people, so I may not need to hang out with those people. That's knowing yourself. Cause I don't want to sin. I don't want to do stuff because I'm a child of God. Like whatever way you want to break it down, like knowing who you are is vital into being a child of God and a soldier in this battlefield for this kingdom that we're trying to go to. We have to know ourselves, know our strengths, know what we can do. And David did count 5 rocks. It's in the book. Okay. All right, y'all.
That's the petty.
All right, y'all. It was fun. Okay.
Thank you, Alexis from Texas, for joining us. Auntie, I call you Auntie because you create this atmosphere. Thank you for putting us both together. I'll definitely go out with a bang with Auntie. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your perspective. From the moment I met you, the moment I laid eyes on you in one of the first conversations I've had with you, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give her flowers while she still lives. And so shout out to you. Shout out to you always being vulnerable in these conversations and always sharing your authentic self, and bringing us back full circle. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate the balance that you give and all of that comes with being what I consider a true auntie, somebody who's loving, caring, compassionate, somebody that can chastise you in several ways. You can give me that, hold on, let me tell you this. Let me bring you back there. But then you can also say, wait a minute, what you ain't finna do is, and so that's what an auntie does. My T Betty do that all day long. She can say, now Sylvia. But then also she can say, now wait a minute. And so Thank you for that. Thank you for always gracing us with your beautiful presence. I'll give you the floor to share your final thoughts, and I'll sum up with what you what you leave out, because I know you're finna come with it. And so, yeah,
Well, thank you, Child to Black Man, for inviting me tonight, because I was in my quiet time watching. I was binge watching Law and Order as if I haven't seen it enough. But I just want to say, I think Trey put in here, and I'm just going to use the words that was written by Linda Creed in 1977, The Greatest Love of All, originally sang by George Benson and made famous by Whitney Houston. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. So for many of us, it's too late. It's just too late. And what we must do, I think about it now, particularly as a grandmother, that we have to continue to teach our children. And if we are fortunate enough to be able to sow into children's lives that are not our own, that is our responsibility to do so, because for many of us, it's just too late. And that's the only way we're going to course correct, is to instill into these young people the values of our grandparents, of our great grandparents, and to know, particularly as it relates to women, that it is an honor. It is an honor to be a wife and mother. And you can be a wife, mother, and still work and still contribute to your family, but don't waste those years, all those years, trying to find yourself. Let's try to do that sooner. So I think that's where it starts. And again, that is my charge to bear for my family. And again, if I'm so fortunate enough to be able to pour into young people's lives, that's what I do. But also by having these conversations, each person is able to take these conversations to their own families and to their own youth, that they can reach out and touch, because we're going to have to show them what really matters, because there's too many things vying for their attention, and that's what they want. We have to show them that it's more than that. I think that's it. Oh, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Mosaic with TJ Randolph, and I'm on Instagram, Mosaic with TJ Randolph, and I'm on TikTok, which is kind of fun for me. So I've been having fun with that. But I thank you for these conversations. I think it was really good. I think we need to continue to have them. I think, again, they need to continue to be solution oriented, because quite frankly, I'm tired of talking about the problem without a solution. So
yeah,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And so to your point, and to Trey's point, thank you for dropping that, Trey. The children all the way forward, and that's why we try to have cleaner conversations. I know sometime on other nights we can get kind of raw and crazy and wild. And so that's one of the reasons why I love it here at Black Men Unfiltered Network. We can have a whole lot of everything going on, but still there's teachable moments in it. And so I hope that these conversations can Auntie break down this pic. Don't throw that up there. You wait just 1 second.
Please don't.
Okay.
Don't
you
scar
wait
me
1 second.
Don't scar me any further, please.
He is just so bad. You are so trifling. Can you please take that down? That's the problem right there. You know, somebody told her that was okay. We got to hold each other accountable. We have to hold each other accountable. We have to have these conversations. And like I was saying, we try to have these conversations here. We try to keep it clean enough to where we can actually share this content with our children, because that's the only way. So we have these conversations to kind of identify where I'm at, who I am, and where I need to get to. And so some of us, it's truly too late, you know. But then I can't truly say that, because it's never too late to start. You know, it's never too late to fix it. You know, if you still got air and you're still breathing, you're still well mentally and physically, you can do something different. And so I get it. There's a lot of damage.
It's not too late for those who want better.
Right. And so that's the thing. It's not too late. That's it right there. It's not too late for those who want better. So if you truly want to do better in life, take an opportunity. It's important for you to find time to sit and simply just be in your own skin, in your own presence. If you can't stand to be alone enough to be by yourself for not just a short period of time, but for an extended period of time, if you don't like yourself enough to be there, guess what? You're not ready. You're not ready to bring nobody else into the picture to do anything else with you because you a mess yourself. Okay? You muted. What you say, and then what?
You'll mess yourself up and them.
And you'll mess yourself up and them. And so take a moment, connect with yourself, whether it's through meditation, through prayer, reflection, whatever you need to do, but be intentional about your self exploration. Be intentional about your self intimacy and be healthier. Why I had to say be healthier?
That is horrible. And I'm sorry, there's nothing cute about it. That's not body positivity. That's high cholesterol. That's on the precipice of a stroke and heart attack. There's no necks to be found. It's horrible.
And as we continue to approve obesity and think that it's okay for us health wise, who gonna take care of our grandkids? Who gonna take care of our great grandkids? I'm trying to see at least 3, maybe 4 generations. If I could see 4, boy, you ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. Okay? But I want to see the generations that come after me, and not only do I want to see them, but I want to contribute. And so, last thing I gotta say, there's a 777 dating rule, which says 7 days. In 7 days, you know, if you're intimate with somebody or you're in a relationship with somebody, every 7 days, y'all do a date night. Every 7 weeks, you do a night away from the house. Every 7 months, you do a vacation with one another. I'ma say, I want y'all. I know, right? You and Mr. Randolph gonna go get you. You know what? That's another reason. Y'all do enough. Y'all be living y'all best life, and I love it. So keep doing what you're doing over there, Auntie, you and Mr. Randolph. But I want to encourage people to start doing that with themselves. 777. It's a holy number. Sherelle mentioned it earlier. I wish she was here for final thoughts because she always gives some beautiful perspective. Thank you, each and every one of you ladies, for being on the panel. Sherelle, Lady Navarre, Beautiful Animated Speaks. Who is from Texas? Alexis from Texas. You, Auntie, High Value Wives. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for
Reacts.
Yeah, Miss Mo was here. Thank you, Miss Mo. Thank you for bringing her name back up. I appreciate her. And she actually wasn't even feeling well, and she jumped on. So Mo, I truly appreciate you for joining the conversation. I knew you had some jewels to drop, and we thank you for your journey and for you being vulnerable too in these moments. But I encourage people to not just take this 777 rule as a dating rule, but take it as a personal journey too. In 7 days, every 7 days, date yourself. Take yourself out. Have a moment to just be by yourself. Okay? Every 7 weeks, take a moment to get out of the house. Just get out of the house. Go do something fun, something truly you like to do. If you like to do concerts, you hadn't done one in a while, go do one. And then every 7 months, that's not even twice a year. It depends on when you start that journey, right? And so every 7 months, take yourself on a vacation. I don't care if it's a short staycation, but get away. Go do an adventure. You know, go do something different. Get to know who you are, what you truly love, so that as you address your different levels in your life, because it's levels to it, right? It's a journey. It's not a destination. It ain't, oh, I figured out who I am and now that's it. I'm this, okay? I'm a wife, that's it, okay? Oh, Jesus. So you don't just make it there and it's done, right? We're going to go to commercial break and we're going to talk about what happened when you finish part of your journey. Commercial.
Hi there, Black Men Unfiltered. Listen, today we have a special offer. We have the Wig Snatcher 1000 on sale for $19.99. Get yours now. Are you tired of your wife getting up every day looking like Rick James? Are you tired of your wife getting up every day looking like James Brown? You don't have to do it any longer. You don't have to suffer anymore. We have the Wig Snatcher 1000. We have them on sale now, $19.99. Get yours today.
Get I can't stand. Oh, geez, it's the commercials. But yeah, so as you travel down that road, you'll start becoming your true and continually growing self into whatever you need to be for that mate, for that role, whether it's a position at work, whether it's a position in life, or whatever the case may be. You'll get there as you take some time to spend some time with yourself. And so that's what I was getting at. Spend some time with yourself to truly get to see who you are. So you won't make it to the end of the road and be like, "Ooh, I see what people was talking about. I see who you are now. You showed yourself to be this thing because you were showing me what you've obtained to be a wife. Now I get to see the real you, and I don't like that person." Because you can only fake the funk for so long. You can only live in a role for so long. Oh, I'm just doing this because I want to be this. So this is what I'm going to do these things because this is what that looks like. You're faking the funk if you hadn't dealt with the mess inside. And so those are my final thoughts. Deal with the mess inside. If you can't spend time with yourself, by yourself, you don't need to be with anybody else. Because like Auntie said, you're going to mess yourself up further and you're going to jack them up too. And so we're going to keep having these conversations. So know yourself. Who are you? Okay? Know yourself intimately. Learn to spend some time with yourself. Okay? If I lock you in a dark room by yourself, you going to be cool with that? I know some of y'all afraid of the dark, but are you okay? Okay? Let me leave the light on for some people. Gosh, dog, I know some people crying now. Let me leave the light on, but if you're in the room by yourself for an extended period of time, total safe environment, and you're there, and all you have is you, yourself, and that's it, would you be okay? I'm like, Auntie, I'm content, baby. They're going to come back. Don't let me be the found a rock or a pebble, baby. I'm going to be doodled on some walls. I'm drawing flowers and stuff. I'm going to be cool right in that space. Sitting on my feet cocked up in the air, twiddling my toes, rubbing my feet together, especially if they feed me good. As long as they got some good, I ain't mad about nothing. Okay? Because I can spend some time with myself. Because I'm okay with me. I look in the mirror every day and be like, girl, you one bad mama jamma. I like who you are. Unmute yourself, TJ. Let me hear you shout that out. You look at you like, yeah. And so,
I'm good.
Yeah. I look at myself and be like, I'm all right. You know, I am okay. You know, I fuss at myself sometimes because I get too busy. And that's a whole nother thing. But I look at myself and be like, you know what? You all right.
Yeah,
all right.
I really am. And again, it has nothing to do with how much stuff I have.
Nothing to do with the stuff. Somebody asked me the other day, how you doing? You good? I say, you know what? There's 1,002 things we can complain about on any given day. I say, but you know what? I am super grateful. I told somebody the other day, I said, I'm gratefully tired. Why? I was with my grandkids from Thursday until yesterday?
Oh Lord, you was tired.
Gratefully tired. You hear me? Totally blessed to have the opportunity to make those memories, to pour into them, to make them choose their words. Even my son earlier, I was telling him, he was saying, I say, all right, son, you too loud and you in that room, but I'm going to the next room and I got a panel. You always got a panel. I say, hey, choose your words. It's not always, I don't always have a panel. We have to pour into our children. We have to pour into the people that you love. So I was gratefully tired, but grateful was the first thing.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and drop down. And
I'm dropping down too. We're done.
Bad little flex, she wanna know me. I stay low key, all gas, no brakes, baby. Let them hoes sleep. Body on 10, make your girl OD. I get in my way, never out of my lane. Feel like you the one and I'm on one. So what it's gonna be? Baby, squad up, we finna go deep.